Welcome, traveler. The campfire is lit. The village has finally fallen asleep, and the night belongs to us once more. Tonight, we begin not with freedom, not with opportunity, not with the American dream of social mobility and self-determination, but with medieval peasant life. A life where you wake before dawn to work land you'll never own. Eat the same grain porridge you ate yesterday and will eat tomorrow, and go to bed exhausted knowing your sons and daughters and grandchildren will do exactly the same. Where social mobility is a fantasy, vacation days don't exist, and the concept of weekends won't be invented for another 800 years. Before we dive into this nightmare of systematic oppression and generational poverty, light that like button. Subscribe if you enjoy this kind of historical suffering, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what ungodly hour it is. I know some of you are out there at 3 a.m. avoiding your own responsibilities. I see you. Now get comfortable. Maybe appreciate that comfortable chair you're sitting in. And let's descend into the daily grind of medieval peasant existence. Welcome to medieval peasant life, where freedom is a concept for nobles and your great-great-great-grandchildren will still be farming the same plot of land, and escape is impossible. You're a peasant now. Congratulations on your new permanent position in the lowest tier of feudal society. No interview required, no resume needed. You were born into this. Your parents were peasants. Their parents were peasants. Your sons and daughters will be peasants. Your grandchildren will be peasants. This is your family legacy stretching back generations and forward into perpetuity. The year is 1320. You're somewhere in England. Could be France, could be Germany. Doesn't matter much. Peasant life is terrible everywhere. Regional variations exist, but they're variations on a theme of suffering. The theme is always suffering. You live in a village of maybe 150 people. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone's business is everyone's business. Privacy is not a concept that exists for you. Your entire life will take place within a 5-mile radius of where you were born. Most peasants never travel more than 10 miles from their birthplace, ever, in their entire lives. Your world is small. Your opportunities are non-existent. Your future is predetermined. Welcome to the bottom of the feudal system. Population, most of Europe. Escape route, none. The vibes are catastrophic. Let's talk about your new life, your actual daily existence. What you do, where you live, what you eat, how long you'll survive. Spoiler alert, the survival rate is terrible and the quality of life is worse. You own nothing, literally nothing of value. The land you farm belongs to the Lord. The house you live in is technically his property. Even the animals you tend aren't really yours. You're allowed to use them. That's different from owning them. Very different. The distinction matters when the Lord decides he needs them. Your possessions. One set of clothes you're currently wearing. One bowl. One spoon. Maybe a knife. A straw mattress if you're lucky. Some basic tools for farming that you share with other villagers. That's it. That's everything you own. Your net worth would make a modern homeless person look wealthy. The clothes you're wearing? They're wool. Scratchy. Uncomfortable wool that you'll wear every single day until they literally fall apart. Then you'll get new clothes. Not new. Hand-me-downs from someone who died. Or you'll make new ones from scratch, which takes months of work, spinning and weaving. Fashion is not a concern. Variety is not an option. You have one outfit. This is it. Underneath the wool, nothing. No underwear. Underwear is for rich people. You're going commando in scratchy wool for your entire life. Very comfortable. Peak medieval fashion. Your thighs have permanent wool burn. Shoes? Maybe. If you're lucky. Probably not. Most peasants go barefoot most of the time. Shoes are expensive. Shoes wear out. Your feet are tough. They have to be. You'll walk miles every day on rough ground, through mud, through snow, through everything. Your feet are basically leather by age 10. In winter, you might wrap your feet in cloth. Might. If you have cloth to spare. Usually you don't. So you just suffer. Frostbite is common. Losing toes to cold is normal. Everyone has foot problems. Everyone. The pedicure industry would make a fortune here. Your home. Let's discuss where you live. Because calling it a house is generous. We're talking about a one-room structure made of wood frame, wattle and daub walls, and a thatched roof that leaks. The entire structure is maybe 15 feet by 12 feet. That's 180 square feet total. For your entire family, you live with your spouse if you're married, your sons and daughters, if you have any, possibly your parents if they're still alive, maybe a sibling, everyone in one room, sleeping, eating, living. Everything happens in this one small space. Personal space is a fantasy. Privacy doesn't exist. Everyone hears everything. Everyone sees everything. Everyone knows everything. The floor is dirt. Literally dirt. Packed earth. No wood floor, no stone, just dirt. You'll sweep it occasionally to keep it level, but it's fundamentally just the ground. When it rains heavily, your floor becomes mud. You live in mud. The floor is also where your animals sleep. Yes, animals. In your house. With you. You share your living space with chickens, maybe a pig if you're fortunate, possibly a cow. The animals live inside because it's warmer and protects them from theft. Medieval home security is keep valuable livestock in your bedroom. The smell is extraordinary. The noise is constant. The animal waste is everywhere. Your bed is in the corner. Bed is a generous term. It's a wooden platform with straw on it. That's your mattress. Straw. The same straw is probably bedding for multiple family members. You're sharing this straw pile with your spouse, and possibly your sons and daughters. Very cozy, very intimate, very itchy. The straw is full of fleas. Obviously. Everything is full of fleas. Bedbugs live in the straw. Lice live in your hair. Mites live in your clothes. You are an apartment complex for medieval parasites. They're not paying rent. They're just living their best lives on your blood. You'll change the straw maybe twice a year. Maybe. If you have time. If you have new straw. Usually you don't have time. The old straw just gets more compressed, more full of parasites, more disgusting. You sleep on it anyway. Options are limited. Windows? 1. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. No glass. Glass is for rich people. Your window is just a hole in the wall that you can close with a wooden shutter. In winter, you close the shutter to keep heat in. Then your house is dark. Completely dark. No light except whatever comes from your fire. You live in darkness for months. In summer, you open the shutters for light and air. Then bugs fly in. Birds fly in sometimes. The occasional bat. Lots of flies because you have animal waste in your house. Mosquitoes in the evening. Every window is an invitation for insects. Close the shutters and suffocate in darkness, or open them and deal with the bugs. Choose your suffering. The fireplace is the center of everything. It's where you cook. It's your only heat source. It's your only light at night. The fire burns basically all the time. You feed it constantly. Gathering firewood is a daily task that never ends. The fire cannot go out. If it goes out, restarting it is difficult. Matches don't exist. You need flint and steel, or you need to go borrow fire from a neighbor. The fire stays lit. The smoke from the fire fills your house. There's a hole in the roof for smoke to escape. Theoretically, in practice, most of the smoke just hangs in your house. You breathe smoke constantly. Your eyes burn. Your lungs hurt. Respiratory problems are universal among peasants. Everyone has a cough. Everyone. The air quality would make modern air pollution look pristine. Your house has no bathroom, obviously. Bathrooms are a concept that won't be refined for centuries. You have a chamber pot. It's a bucket. You and your entire family share this bucket. You empty it in the morning by throwing the contents into the street or into a designated waste area. Sometimes you empty it. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes it overflows. The smell is permanent. At night, if you need to go, you use the bucket in the same room where everyone is sleeping. Privacy doesn't exist. Dignity doesn't exist. Everyone hears everything. very romantic, peak medieval living conditions. Bathing happens rarely, very rarely, maybe a few times a year. You don't have a bathtub. You'd have to heat water, which requires time and firewood you don't have. You'd have to fill a basin, which requires carrying water from the well or stream. The effort is enormous. Most days, you just don't bother. You wipe down with a rag sometimes, maybe. Usually you just accumulate dirt, layers of dirt. Your skin is permanently gray with grime. The smell is biblical. Everyone smells terrible. But everyone smells terrible, so nobody notices anymore. Olfactory fatigue is your friend. Your hair is full of lice. Not sometimes, always. Lice are permanent residents. You can't get rid of them. You don't have effective treatments. You just live with them. Everyone has lice. The young have lice. Adults have lice. The elderly have lice. Lice are democratic. They infest everyone equally. Dental hygiene doesn't exist. You don't brush your teeth. Toothbrushes won't be common for centuries. You might chew on a stick sometimes. Might. Your teeth rot. Everyone's teeth rot. By age 30, you're missing multiple teeth. By 40, if you're still alive, you might have 5 teeth left. Tooth decay is universal. Tooth pain is constant. There's no dentist, no treatment, no pain relief. You just live with the pain. Abscesses happen. Infections happen. Sometimes infections kill you. Sometimes you just suffer for years with horrible tooth pain, and there's nothing you can do about it. The chronic pain is part of daily life. This is your home. This is where you live. This 180-square-foot room with dirt floors, smoke-filled air, animal roommates, parasite colonies, and no privacy. This is where you'll spend every night of your life, where you'll raise your sons and daughters, where you'll grow old, where you'll die. The Casper mattress experience? Not it, Chief. This is subsistence living. This is poverty so deep it's generational. This is what life looks like for 85-90% of medieval Europeans. And we haven't even talked about the work yet. The actual labor. The backbreaking, never-ending, no days off, sunrise to sunset physical labor that is your entire existence. That's coming. The worst is yet to come. Because the living conditions are terrible, yes, but the work is worse. The work is what breaks you. The work is what kills you early. The work is inescapable. You thought the house was bad? Wait until we discuss what you do for 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, for your entire life. Your day begins before sunrise. Always before sunrise. You don't have an alarm clock. You don't need one. Your body wakes you when the first hints of light appear because you've been doing this your entire life. Your father did this. His father did this. Your sons and daughters will do this. The biological alarm clock is set to peasant suffering. It's still dark outside. Cold. Always cold in the morning. Your one-room house is freezing because the fire burned low overnight. You're stiff from sleeping on straw. Your back hurts. Your back always hurts. You're 25 years old and your back is already destroyed from years of farm labor. By 40, if you make it to 40, you'll be permanently bent. You don't stretch. You don't do morning yoga. You just get up and start working. There's no transition from sleep to work. No coffee to wake you up. Coffee won't reach Europe in meaningful quantities for centuries. No breakfast yet. You'll eat later. Maybe, if there's time. Usually there's not time. First task, restart the fire if it's gone out, or feed it if it's still burning. You need fire for everything. Cooking, heat, light. The fire is life. You add wood. You blow on the embers. You get it going. This takes 10 minutes you don't have every morning for your entire life. While you're doing this, your spouse is already moving. If you're married, most peasants marry. Not for love, for survival. You need 2 people working to have any chance. One person alone can't manage. Marriage is economic necessity. Romance is optional, usually absent. You married whoever was available in the village who wasn't a close relative. Your options were limited. You chose from maybe 5 eligible people. You got lucky if you even liked them. Youngsters, wake up. If you have young ones, most peasants have 5 to 8 young ones, not because they want that many, because infant mortality is catastrophic and you need some to survive to help with work. Half of your sons and daughters will die before age 5. Half. That's not an exaggeration. That's the statistical reality. 50% youth mortality. You have 8 young ones, hoping 4 survive to adulthood. The math is devastating. The surviving young ones start helping immediately. Young people, as young as 5 or 6, have tasks. Feeding chickens, gathering eggs, helping with smaller chores. By age 8, they're working the fields. By age 12, they're doing adult labor. Childhood, as we understand it, doesn't exist. You're a worker as soon as you're physically capable. No school, obviously. Schools are for nobles and merchants' young ones. Peasant young ones learn by doing. You learn to farm by farming. You learn to spin by spinning. Education is watch your parents work until you can do it yourself. The literacy rate among peasants is basically 0. You can't read, you can't write, you'll never learn. Your sons and daughters won't learn. Generational illiteracy. Morning tasks. Before field work. Feed the animals living in your house. The pig needs slop. The chickens need grain. The cow, if you're lucky enough to have one, needs hay. These animals are valuable. They represent wealth. A pig is worth months of labor. You can't let them die. You feed them before you feed yourself. Milk the cow if you have one. Most peasants don't have cows. Cows are expensive. But if you do, morning milking is essential. You need the milk. Your sons and daughters need it. You'll make cheese from it to preserve it. The milking takes 30 minutes. Your hands are freezing. The cow doesn't care. She's not particularly cooperative. This is your life. Check the chickens for eggs. Eggs are protein, precious protein. You'll eat some, you'll sell some. Eggs are currency. The chickens are your retirement plan. They're also your savings account. Everything is subsistence. Nothing is excess. Now you need water. Water for drinking. Water for cooking. Water for the animals. The well is in the village center. Or maybe there's a stream a quarter mile away. You carry buckets. Heavy buckets. You make multiple trips. Carrying water is brutal physical labor that happens every single day. Your shoulders are destroyed. Your back is destroyed. You're hauling 40 to 60 pounds of water multiple times per day. No indoor plumbing. No faucets. No running water. Every drop of water you use, you carried. By hand. From the well. Uphill, usually. Because of course the well is downhill from your house. Why would anything be easy? If it's winter, the well might be frozen. Then you're breaking ice. Or melting snow. Or carrying water from a stream that hasn't frozen yet, which is farther away. Winter makes everything harder. Always. Every task in winter takes twice as long and hurts twice as much. Breakfast happens now, if you're lucky. If. The meal is porridge, grain porridge, every morning, the same porridge, made from whatever grain you have, usually barley or oats. You boil grain in water. That's breakfast. No sugar, no salt unless you're wealthy, no butter, no milk unless you have a cow. Just boiled grain in water. The porridge is thick, lumpy, bland, incredibly bland. The taste is grain and sadness. You eat it because you need calories for the work ahead. You're going to burn 3,000 calories today doing manual labor. You need fuel. The fuel tastes terrible. You eat it anyway. Your sons and daughters eat porridge. Your spouse eats porridge. Everyone eats the same thing. There's no variety, no options. This is breakfast. This was breakfast yesterday. This will be breakfast tomorrow. This will be breakfast every single day for the rest of your life. The monotony is soul-crushing. Sometimes you have bread, if you're fortunate. If you baked recently, medieval peasant bread is dense, dark, and tough. It's made from whatever grain you can grind. usually barley or rye. The bread is so hard you need to soak it in liquid to eat it. Your teeth can't handle it. The texture is edible wood, but it's calories. You eat it. No butter on the bread. Butter is expensive. Butter is for rich people. You eat dry bread, dry, hard, tasteless bread that you have to soften in water or ale. Very appetizing. Michelin would give this negative stars if that were possible. After breakfast, and we're talking maybe 10 minutes to eat, you head to the fields. The fields are your life, your existence, your purpose. You are a farmer. That's your job. That's your only job. That's the only job you'll ever have. Career changes are not an option. Social mobility is a fantasy. You farm. Your sons and daughters will farm. Their youngsters will farm. This is your family business for the next 10 generations. The walk to the fields takes 15 to 30 minutes, depending on where your strips are located. Your strips are your assigned portions of the village fields. You don't own them. The Lord owns them. You're allowed to farm them in exchange for giving him a huge percentage of what you grow. This arrangement is called serfdom. It's slavery with extra steps. The steps don't make it better. The field system is called open field system. All the village farmland is divided into large fields. Each field is subdivided into strips. Each peasant family has multiple strips scattered across different fields. Your strips are not next to each other. They're spread out. This is intentional. It distributes good soil and bad soil equally. Very fair. Also very inconvenient. You'll walk miles every day just moving between your own strips. Your strips are maybe half an acre each. You might have 3 to 5 strips total. So you're farming 2 to 3 acres. That's your land. That's what feeds your family for the year. 2 acres. Modern farmers would laugh. Industrial agriculture makes this look like a garden. But this is it. This is everything. This must feed your family of 6. Must provide grain for next year's planting. Must generate surplus to pay the Lord. Must generate enough to survive winter. Spoiler. It won't generate enough. It never generates enough. You're always on the edge of starvation. Always. 1 bad harvest and you're done. 2 bad harvests and everyone starves. The margin for error is 0. The tools you have. A plow if you're lucky. Usually you share a plow with other villagers. You don't have your own. Plows are expensive. The plow is wooden with a metal tip. It's heavy. It's unwieldy. It barely cuts into the soil. You'll need oxen to pull it. You don't have oxen. You share oxen with neighbors. Everything is shared. Nothing is yours. If you don't have access to plow and oxen, you dig by hand, with a spade. You turn over 2 acres of soil, by hand. The physical labor is incomprehensible by modern standards. Your entire body hurts. Your hands blister. The blisters pop. The raw skin bleeds. You keep working. You have to. Stopping is not an option. Plowing season is spring. You plow the strips. You harrow them to break up clods. You plant seeds. You pray. Prayer is a significant part of farming. You have no control over weather. No control over pests. No control over disease. You plant seeds and hope God doesn't kill you with drought or flood or blight or locusts. Medieval agriculture is gambling with your life. The house always wins eventually. Planting is backbreaking. You walk the strips, dropping seeds by hand. Broadcast seeding. You throw handfuls of grain seeds across the soil. This is not precision agriculture. This is throw seeds and hope some grow. The waste is enormous. Birds eat the seeds. Rodents eat the seeds. Many seeds just don't germinate. Your seed-to-yield ratio is terrible. You plant 10 seeds to get 1 plant. Modern farming is so much more efficient. Medieval farming is desperation agriculture. After planting comes the waiting and the worrying. Constant worrying. Did you plant too early? Too late? Will there be a frost? Too much rain? Not enough rain? You have no control, no agency, no power. You wait and worry and pray. While waiting for crops, there are 1,000 other tasks. Weeding, constant weeding. Weeds grow faster than crops, always. You're in the fields pulling weeds by hand, hours every day. Your back is bent. Your hands are raw. The weeds keep coming. You pull them. They grow back. You pull them again. This never ends. Maintaining the field edges, maintaining the paths, fixing fences where they exist, scaring away birds. Youngsters stand in fields throwing rocks at birds to keep them from eating seeds. This is their job. 8-year-olds spending hours throwing rocks at crows. Medieval child labor laws? None. Child labor practices? Extensive. Harvest season is hell. Absolute hell. Everything ripens at once. Everything must be harvested immediately. If you wait, the grain overripens and falls. If it rains before you harvest, the grain rots. You have maybe a 2-week window to harvest everything that must feed you for the entire year. 2 weeks. The pressure is crushing. The whole village helps. Everyone works harvest. Men, women, youngsters, elderly if they're capable. Everyone. You work from sunrise to sunset. 14-hour days. 16-hour days. You work until you physically cannot work anymore. Then you sleep 4 hours and do it again. This continues for 2 weeks straight. No days off, no breaks, no mercy. Harvesting grain is brutal labor. You cut grain with a sickle, a curved blade. You bend over and cut stalks near the ground. You do this for hours. Your back screams. Your hands blister and bleed. The sickle is sharp, but not that sharp. You need to saw through tough stalks. Hundreds of stalks. Thousands of stalks. You cut until your hands don't work anymore. Then you keep cutting. The cut grain gets bundled into sheaves. The sheaves get stood up in stooks to dry. This is more bending, more lifting, more carrying. Everything hurts. Your entire body is destroying itself. You're 30 years old and your body is falling apart. This is normal. Everyone's body is falling apart. Chronic pain is universal. Disability is common. You just keep working through it. After cutting comes threshing. Threshing separates grain from stalks. You beat the sheaves with a flail. A flail is 2 sticks connected by chain. You swing it overhead and smash it down on grain. You do this hundreds of times. Thousands of times. The repetitive motion destroys your shoulders. The impact jars your whole body. You breathe chaff and dust. Your lungs fill with grain particles. Respiratory disease is inevitable. The threshing floor is communal. Everyone's grain mixed together temporarily. Lots of opportunity for disputes about whose grain is whose. Arguments happen. Fights happen. Someone always thinks someone else took extra. The tensions are constant. Everyone is desperate. Everyone is starving. Trust is limited. After threshing comes winnowing. You toss grain in the air. The wind blows away the chaff. The heavy grain falls. This only works if there's wind. If there's no wind, you wait. You can't store unprocessed grain. It will rot. You need wind. You pray for wind. Sometimes wind doesn't come. Sometimes your grain rots. Sometimes God just hates you specifically. Once grain is processed, the Lord takes his share. This is not optional. This is not negotiable. The Lord owns the land. You farm it as a serf. You owe him a percentage of your harvest. Usually 30 to 50%, sometimes more. The Lord's representative comes and takes grain. Just takes it. You don't argue. You can't argue. You give him half of everything you worked for. This is feudalism. This is the system. The system is oppression with paperwork. After the Lord takes his share, the church takes its share. Tithes. You owe the church 10% of what remains. This is God's share. You can't refuse. You're Christian. Everyone's Christian. You give the church its percentage. The priest comes and takes grain. More grain leaving. Less grain for your family. After the Lord and the church take their shares, you have what's left. Maybe 50% of what you grew. Maybe less. This must feed your family until next harvest. This must provide seed grain for next year's planting. This must be enough. It's never enough. You store the grain in your house, in sacks, in corners. The grain attracts rodents, mice, rats. They eat your grain. You can't stop them. You don't have effective pest control. You try. You set traps. You get cats. The rodents keep coming. They eat maybe 10% of your stored grain. More losses, more hunger. The grain also spoils. Mold grows. Weevils infest it. Storage is imperfect. You lose another 10% to spoilage and pests. Your 50% is now 40%. Your family needs 45% to survive the year comfortably. You have 40%. You're short. You're always short. Everyone is always short. Hunger is normal. Starvation is common. We're not even done with the workday. You've done field work. That's not your only work. You have obligations. Feudal obligations. You owe the Lord labor, free labor, corvée labor. You must work the Lord's personal fields, his demena. You give him several days per week of free labor, usually 2 to 3 days, sometimes more during harvest. Those days of free labor, you still need to work your own fields. So you work the Lord's land during the day, then you work your own land in the evening. You're working 16-hour days. The Lord gets your prime working hours. You get the leftovers. You're exhausted, always exhausted. Sleep deprivation is your normal state. You're 28 years old and you look 50. Everyone looks ancient. Everyone is worn down. The labor destroys you physically. Beyond field labor, you owe other obligations. Boon work, special projects. The Lord needs a barn built. You build it. For free. The Lord needs road repairs. You repair them. For free. The Lord needs literally anything. You provide it. You have no choice. This is the feudal contract. You farm his land. You give him crops. You give him labor. You give him everything. He gives you permission to not starve. Maybe. If harvests are good, the arrangement is spectacularly one-sided. Maintenance work on your house happens whenever you have time, meaning almost never. The thatched roof leaks. You need to repair it. That requires cutting reeds or straw, drying them, bundling them, climbing on the roof, replacing sections. This is a full day of work, minimum. You don't have a full day. You do it in pieces. A few hours here, a few hours there. The roof continues leaking. You continue getting wet when it rains. You fix it eventually. Months later, the house is permanently damp. The walls need repair. Wattle and daub deteriorates. The daub cracks and falls out. You need to make new daub. This requires mixing clay, straw, and dung. Yes, dung. Animal manure mixed into your wall plaster. You pack this mixture into the wooden lattice of your walls. You let it dry. It smells terrible while drying. It doesn't smell great after drying either. This is your home improvement project. HGTV would cancel this show immediately. Evening arrives. You've worked 14 hours, minimum. Your body is destroyed. You're covered in dirt and sweat and probably some manure. You smell terrible. You don't bathe. Water is too precious. Heating water takes too much firewood. You just stay dirty. Add today's dirt to yesterday's dirt. Layer them. By the end of the week, you're wearing soil as a second skin. Dinner is the big meal. Big is relative. You're eating more porridge. Or pottage, a vegetable stew if you're lucky. You throw whatever vegetables you have into a pot with water. Onions if you have them. Turnips usually. Cabbage. Whatever grew in your garden. You boil it until it's soft. You eat it. The flavor is vegetables and desperation. Sometimes there's meat. Very sometimes. Meat is expensive. You can't afford to slaughter animals often. The pig you raised all year? That's for special occasions. Christmas maybe. Easter. Not random Tuesdays. On random Tuesdays you eat vegetables and grain. The protein intake is dangerously low. Malnutrition is universal. If you're near a river or stream, maybe you catch fish. Sometimes, fish are free protein. If you can catch them. If you have time to fish. Usually you don't have time. Fishing is for people with leisure time. Peasants don't have leisure time. Peasants have not currently working time, which is different. That's eating time and sleeping time. not leisure. Bread if you have it, cheese if you made it. Everything is bland, salt is expensive, spices are for the wealthy. Your food tastes like thing that provides calories. The goal is survival, not enjoyment. Culinary pleasure is not a concern. You eat what grows. What grows is grain and vegetables. You eat grain and vegetables forever. After dinner, you're done, exhausted. It's dark. You have no artificial light beyond the fire. Candles are expensive. You're not wasting candles. You sit by the fire for maybe an hour. You repair tools if needed. You do small tasks. Mostly you just sit. Too tired to do anything else. Too tired to think. You stare at the fire. You go to bed. Bed is the straw pile. You collapse onto it. You're asleep in minutes. Your body is broken. Your muscles scream. Your back hurts. Your hands hurt. Everything hurts. You sleep anyway. Sleep is the only escape you get. 8 hours if you're lucky. Usually 6, sometimes 4 during harvest. Tomorrow, you'll do it all again. Same tasks, same labor, same exhaustion, same pain. Every day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, for your entire life. There are no weekends. That concept won't be invented until the labor movement of the 1900s. You work every day. Sunday, you're supposed to rest. Supposed to. Usually, you still work. The work never ends. If you don't work, you don't eat. The math is simple and brutal. This is your daily routine. This is your life. This is what you do from age 8 when you start working until death. The average lifespan for a peasant who survives childhood is maybe 45 to 55 years. You get 40 years of this. 40 years of brutal physical labor. 40 years of subsistence living. 40 years of poverty and pain. And you can't escape. Can't change jobs. Can't move to the city without permission. Can't improve your situation. This is your life. This was your father's life. This will be your son's and daughter's life. The cycle continues. Generation after generation. The systematic oppression is comprehensive. The trap is perfect. There is no escape. We haven't even talked about the specific dangers yet. The injuries, the diseases, the famines, the ways this life actively tries to kill you. That's coming. Because the daily grind is terrible, yes. But the acute dangers are worse, much worse. The work is dangerous. Not might be dangerous or could be risky. Dangerous. Guaranteed to injure you. The question is not if you'll get hurt. The question is how badly and how often. Farm accidents happen constantly. You're working with sharp tools, heavy equipment, unpredictable animals, and no safety standards of any kind. OSHA doesn't exist. Safety regulations don't exist. Common sense exists, but common sense can't prevent accidents when you're exhausted and working with primitive tools. The scythe, your primary harvesting tool, a long curved blade on a wooden handle, very sharp. Has to be sharp to cut grain efficiently. You're swinging this blade back and forth in wide arcs while bent over for hours. Your muscles are tired. Your grip slips. The blade comes back and cuts your leg. Deep cut. Very deep. You're bleeding heavily. No hospital. No emergency room. No 911 to call. You're in a field. You're losing blood. Someone wraps your leg in cloth. Not clean cloth. There is no clean cloth. Just whatever fabric is available. Probably the same cloth someone used yesterday to wipe their face. The wound gets wrapped. The bleeding slows. The infection begins immediately. Cuts happen all the time. Daily. Your hands are constantly cut from sharp tools, from thorns, from rough wood. Every cut is an infection risk. Every cut can kill you. You have no antibiotics. No antiseptic. No understanding of germ theory. You just wrap wounds and hope. Hope is not an effective medical treatment. People die from infected cuts regularly. The plow tips over. You're trying to maneuver it around a rock. The wooden beam swings, hits you in the head. You're seeing stars. Maybe you're concussed. Definitely you're concussed. No one knows what a concussion is. You just have a horrible headache for weeks. Sometimes concussions kill people. Sometimes they cause permanent brain damage. You don't know. You just keep working with your damaged brain. The ox kicks you. Oxen are large and strong, and sometimes they don't want to plow. You're trying to get the ox to move. You prod it. It kicks backward. The hoof catches you in the chest. You hear ribs crack. The pain is extraordinary. You can't breathe properly. Broken ribs. Multiple broken ribs. Treatment for broken ribs? Nothing. You just live with it. You wrap your chest tightly and continue working. Because you have to. Stopping work means not eating. You work through the pain. The ribs heal eventually. Sometimes. Sometimes they heal wrong. Sometimes they puncture a lung. Sometimes you just die from internal bleeding. You don't know until it happens. Falls are common. You're climbing to repair your roof. You slip. You fall 15 feet onto hard ground. You land badly. Your ankle breaks. The bone snaps. You hear it. Everyone hears it. Broken ankle. Medieval treatment for broken bones. Splint it and pray. You find 2 straight sticks. You tie them to your leg. Tight. The bone needs to stay immobile. Does the bone set correctly? Maybe. Probably not. Most broken bones heal crooked. You'll have a limp for the rest of your life. Your ankle will hurt every day. Arthritis will set in. You'll be hobbling by age 35. This is normal. Everyone has old injuries. Everyone limps. Back injuries are universal, not occasional. Universal. Everyone who does farm labor gets back problems. You're bent over constantly, lifting heavy things, twisting while carrying. Your spine is taking damage every single day. By age 30, your back is destroyed, herniated discs, compressed vertebrae, chronic pain that never stops. No treatment, no pain relief, no physical therapy. You just hurt all the time. You wake up hurting. You work hurting. You go to sleep hurting. The pain is your constant companion. You learn to live with it. You have to. Complaining doesn't help. There's no workers' compensation, no disability benefits. You work or you starve. Those are the options. Hernias are extremely common. You're lifting heavy things improperly because there is no proper technique when you're exhausted and desperate. You feel something tear in your abdomen. Sudden, sharp pain. A bulge appears. Hernia. Your intestines are pushing through your abdominal wall. This is bad. Medieval hernia treatment. Wear a truss. A truss is basically a belt with pressure pad. You wear it to push the hernia back in. It doesn't fix anything. It just holds things in place. Sort of. The hernia can still strangulate. If it strangulates, you die. Painful death. Slow death. You just hope your hernia doesn't kill you. That's the treatment plan. Eye injuries happen. Chaff and grain particles fly everywhere during threshing. They get in your eyes. Usually just irritation. Sometimes they scratch your cornea. Sometimes you go blind in one eye. Eye infections are common. Pink eye is constant. Everyone has crusty eyes. No eye drops. No antibiotics. You just live with infected eyes until they either get better or you go blind. Partial blindness is common among older peasants. You're 60 years old with one working eye. The other got infected 30 years ago and never recovered. You can still work with one eye. You do. You have to. Disability doesn't excuse you from labor. You work until you physically cannot work. Then you die. Tooth infections kill people. We mentioned rotting teeth earlier. Sometimes those rotten teeth abscess. The infection spreads to your jaw. Your face swells. The pain is unbearable. The infection spreads to your blood. Sepsis. You die. From a tooth infection. This happens regularly. Dental problems are a leading cause of death. Brushing your teeth isn't vain. It's survival. Animal-related injuries are constant. The pig bites you. Pig bites are nasty. Deep puncture wounds. Always infected. The chicken pecks your hand. Seems minor. The peck breaks skin. Gets infected. You lose a finger to infection. One chicken peck leads to amputation. The chain of consequences is brutal. Dogs in the village, not pets, working animals, guard animals, mean animals, sometimes rabid animals. A dog bites you. If it's rabid, you're dead. Rabies is 100% fatal, always. No treatment exists. You get bitten by a rabid dog, you have maybe a month to live. You'll die horribly, foaming at the mouth, unable to swallow water, violent convulsions. Everyone will watch you die. They'll remember the rabies death. They'll talk about it for years. You'll be the cautionary tale. The well collapses. Wells are maybe 15 to 20 feet deep, lined with stone or wood. Sometimes the lining fails. You're drawing water. The edge gives way. You fall in. You're at the bottom of the well, with broken legs, maybe a broken back. You're screaming. People pull you out eventually. You're crippled, permanently. You'll never walk properly again. Your working life is over. Your productive life is over. You become a burden on your family. You hate yourself for being injured. You had one job: survive and work. You failed. Fires are a constant threat. Your house is made of wood and thatch, highly flammable. The fire in your fireplace is burning constantly. Sparks escape, land on thatch, the roof catches fire. Fire spreads fast, incredibly fast. Your house burns in minutes. Everything you own is inside. Your grain stores, your tools, your clothes, everything burns. You might escape. Might. Sometimes people don't. Sometimes young people don't wake up in time. Sometimes elderly can't move fast enough. People die in house fires regularly. The whole village comes to watch. Can't stop it. No fire department, no water pressure. You throw buckets of water. Doesn't help. The house burns. You're homeless now. You have nothing. The village might help you rebuild. Might. Community support exists, but it's limited. Everyone is poor. Everyone is struggling. You're now extra struggling. You stay with relatives. You sleep in their already crowded house. You add to their burden. You work to rebuild. It takes months. You're behind on everything. Your harvest will be smaller because you spent time rebuilding instead of farming. The consequences cascade. One fire destroys years of progress. Disease. Let's talk about disease. The constant, relentless, always present threat of disease. You're surrounded by death. Everyone is sick. Always. Something is always going around the village. Someone is always dying. Dysentery, the big killer. Violent, bloody diarrhea. You get it from contaminated water, the well water, the stream water. All water is contaminated. Human waste gets into water sources. Animals defecate upstream. The water carries disease. You drink it because you have no choice. You need water. The water is poison. You drink the poison. You get dysentery. The dysentery is brutal. You're losing fluids faster than you can replace them. You're dehydrated, weak. You can't work. You can barely move. You lie on your straw mattress shitting yourself. No dignity. No privacy. Everyone knows. Everyone can smell it. The smell is extraordinary. You either recover or you die. Coin flip odds. 50-50. Young people die more often. The elderly die more often. Young, healthy adults sometimes survive. Sometimes. If you survive, you're weak for weeks. Can't work at full capacity. Still have to work. The fields don't care that you nearly died. The crops need tending. You work while weak. You get sicker. The recovery takes longer. Everything takes longer. Malaria, if you're near wetlands. Mosquitoes everywhere. Constant mosquitoes. They carry malaria. You get bitten. You get infected. The fever is terrible. You're burning up. Then you're freezing. Then burning again. The fever cycle continues for weeks. You might die. You might survive with permanent organ damage. Malaria kills thousands. Every year. Wetland villages have terrible life expectancy. Everyone gets malaria. Everyone either dies or develops partial immunity through repeated exposure. The survivors are weak, chronically weak, anemic, exhausted. Tuberculosis is everywhere. TB is the constant killer. You live in close quarters with others. Someone has TB. They cough. You breathe the air. You're infected. The infection is slow. Takes years. You cough. You lose weight. You waste away. People call it consumption because you're being consumed from within. You get weaker, thinner. You cough up blood. Everyone knows you're dying. The process takes years. Years of slowly dying while trying to work. Years of infecting others. Everyone in your house probably gets it. No cure. No treatment. Some people survive. Most don't. TB kills millions. It's the leading cause of death after diseases of the young. If you make it to adulthood, TB is what's waiting for you. Maybe. Possibly. 1 in 3 adults dies of TB. 1 in 3. The odds are terrible. Smallpox comes through periodically. Smallpox is catastrophic. The fever is extreme. The pustules cover your body. You're covered in painful, oozing sores. You can't move without pain. You can't lie down without pain. You can't exist without pain. 30% die. Those who survive are scarred, covered in pockmarks, permanent facial scarring, sometimes blinded by pustules on eyes. Smallpox survivors are marked for life. Everyone can see you survived. Everyone knows what you went through. Smallpox epidemics kill hundreds in a village. The disease spreads fast. Everyone gets exposed. Everyone gets infected. The village becomes a death camp. Bodies pile up. Too many dead to bury quickly. The survivors dig mass graves. They throw bodies in, cover them with dirt, move on. What else can you do? Life continues. The survivors continue. The trauma is permanent. Plague, the big one. Yersinia pestis, the Black Death. Plague comes through Europe in waves. 1347 is the big one. Kills maybe 1/3 of Europe's population. 1/3. 50 million people. The scale is incomprehensible. Entire villages wiped out. Cities depopulated. The social structure collapses. Everything collapses. You see the plague coming. Rumors arrive before the disease. The next village over is dying. Everyone's dying. The deaths are horrible. Buboes, swollen lymph nodes appear in groin, armpits, neck. The buboes are agonizing. They swell to the size of apples. They turn black. They ooze. The fever is extreme. Delirium sets in. You're hallucinating. You're coughing blood. You're dying. Plague kills in days. 3 to 5 days from first symptoms to death, sometimes faster. Pneumonic plague, the lung version, kills in 2 days. You're coughing, then you're coughing blood. Then you're dead. Your family is next. They were exposed. They're infected. They'll die too. Everyone in your house dies. The whole family. Gone. The plague is indiscriminate. Rich and poor die equally. Well, not equally. Rich people can flee to countryside estates. Poor people are stuck. You can't leave. You're a serf. You're bound to the land. You stay. The plague arrives. You die. You watch your family die. You die knowing your sons and daughters are dying. The trauma is biblical. Some people survive plague. Maybe 10%. Their immune systems fight it off somehow. They're the lucky ones. Lucky ones who watched everyone they love die. Lucky ones who have to rebuild from nothing. Lucky ones with permanent psychological trauma. Survivor's guilt before we had a term for it. They live, but they're broken. Everyone is broken. After plague passes, labor shortages. Massive labor shortages. Most workers are dead. The survivors can demand higher wages, better conditions. This is actually one of the few things that improves peasant conditions historically. It takes killing half the population, but wages go up. The price of progress is apocalyptic death toll. Very efficient. Very humane. Parasites are constant. We mentioned this earlier, but let's elaborate. Intestinal worms. Everyone has them. Roundworms, tapeworms, hookworms. They live in your intestines. They eat your food. They steal your nutrition. They make you weak. They make young people fail to thrive. They make adults chronically tired. Everyone has them. No one can get rid of them. You just live with them. Poop out worms occasionally. Keep going. Lice everywhere. In your hair. In your clothes. On your body. Lice carry typhus. Typhus is another killer. The fever is brutal. The rash is distinctive. The mortality rate is high. You get typhus from lice. Everyone has lice. Everyone is at risk. People die regularly from lice. Tiny insects kill you. Fleas carry plague. Fleas live on rats. Rats live everywhere. In your house, in the grain stores, in the village. Rats are constant companions. The fleas jump from rats to humans. The fleas bite you. If the rat had plague, now you have plague. You die. The chain is, rat flee you death. Simple, elegant, deadly. Scabies makes you itch constantly. Mites burrow into your skin, lay eggs. The itching is unbearable. You scratch until you bleed. The scratches get infected. More problems. Everyone has scabies. Everyone is scratching. Everyone has scabs and sores. Skin infections are universal. Clear skin is rare. Healthy skin is for the wealthy who can bathe regularly and change clothes. We haven't talked about winter yet. Winter is a special kind of hell. Everything gets worse in winter. Everything. The cold is brutal. Your house has no insulation. The walls are thin. The roof leaks. The floor is dirt. The fire provides heat, but only right next to it. 3 feet from fire? Freezing. Your house is maybe 40 degrees inside. You're cold constantly. Months of being cold. November through March. 5 months of cold. No warm clothes. You have your one wool outfit. It's not enough. You layer what you can. Multiple layers of thin cloth. Still not enough. Your feet are freezing. You might have cloth wrappings. Might. Probably not. Frostbite is common. Losing toes is normal. Losing fingers happens. The cold just takes parts of you. You keep living. Keep working. With fewer toes. Fewer fingers. The cold doesn't care. Food runs low in winter. You stored grain from harvest. You rationed it. You're still running low. February and March are the starving months. The hungry gap between when stored food runs out and when new crops are ready. You're hungry. Everyone is hungry. Youngsters cry from hunger. You can't help them. There's no food. Spring harvest is months away. You eat less. Everyone eats less. You lose weight. Everyone loses weight. You're weak. Easy prey for disease. Starving people die easily. Their immune systems are compromised. They get sick. They die. Winter death rates spike. Old people die. Weak people die. Sick people die. The young die. The cold and hunger kill thousands. Every winter, this is normal. This is expected. You hope you're not one of the deaths this year. That's all you can do. Hope. Your sons and daughters are dying. Youth mortality is 50%. We mentioned this. Let's dwell on it. Half of the young die before age 5. Half. You have 8 young ones. 4 die. This is mathematical expectation. The reality of medieval childhood. The first year is most dangerous. 30% of infants die in their first year. Almost 1 in 3. They die from disease, from malnutrition, from birth defects, from accidents, from being weak, from anything. Everything kills infants. They're fragile. Medieval life is harsh. The combination is deadly. You watch your infant die. You can't save them. No medicine, no treatment, no hospital. You just watch. The infant stops breathing, gets cold, dies in your arms. You cry. You bury them. You move on. You have to. More young ones will die. You can't stop grieving. There's always another death. You become numb, emotionally numb. Protective numbness. If you felt the full weight of every child death, you'd never stop crying. The village graveyard is half young ones. Small graves. So many small graves. Every family has dead young ones. Everyone has lost infants. The grief is communal. The suffering is shared. Nobody talks about it much. What's there to say? The young die. This is life. This is medieval reality. You endure it, you continue, what else can you do? Those who survive the early years face different dangers: disease, accidents, violence, hunger. The threats never stop, they just change. Making it to adulthood is beating the odds. Making it to 40 is exceptional. Making it to 60 is rare. Making it to 70 is basically winning the medieval lottery. Very few people win. Your life expectancy, if you survive to age 20, maybe 50 years total. 30 more years of this, that's what you get. 3 decades of brutal labor and constant danger, then you die. Heart attack from overwork, maybe. Infection from a cut. Plague if it comes through. Starvation if harvests fail. Something kills you. Something always kills you eventually. The systematic nature of this suffering is important. This isn't bad luck. This isn't chance. This is the system working as designed. Feudalism requires desperate peasants. Desperate peasants work hard. Desperate peasants don't rebel. Desperate peasants accept their lot. The system creates and maintains this desperation deliberately. The suffering is the point. The suffering keeps you in your place. You can't escape. Can't improve your situation. Can't protect your sons and daughters. Can't save yourself. You work until you die. Your sons and daughters work until they die. Their youngsters will work until they die. The cycle continues. Generation after generation. Centuries of systematic oppression. The feudal system is perfect at keeping peasants down. Perfect at extracting labor. Perfect at maintaining inequality. And the nobles? They're fine. Living in castles. Eating meat daily. Wearing multiple outfits. Being warm in winter. Their youngsters survive at much higher rates. They live to 60 and 70 regularly. The inequality is staggering. You suffer so they prosper. Your labor funds their comfort. Your poverty enables their wealth. The system is exploitation with legal framework. This is medieval peasant life. Constant danger, constant pain, constant death. No escape, no hope, no future except more of the same. And we're not done. We haven't talked about the feudal obligations in detail. The systematic control. The complete lack of rights. The violence. That's coming. Because the physical suffering is terrible, yes. But the systematic oppression is what makes it inescapable. You are not free. Let's be very clear about this. You are not a free person. You're a serf. Serf sounds better than slave, but the practical difference is minimal. You're bound to the land. Legally bound. You cannot leave without the Lord's permission. You cannot change jobs. You cannot move to a different village. You're stuck. Permanently. The Lord owns the land. You farm the land. This means the Lord owns your labor, owns your time, owns your productivity, owns you, essentially. The ownership is indirect, but comprehensive. You're property that can walk and complain. The complaints don't matter. You're still property. Your feudal obligations are extensive. Let's enumerate them. Let's catalog exactly how much of your life belongs to someone else. Spoiler, most of it. Almost all of it. The percentage of your life that's actually yours is depressingly small. First, rent. You pay rent for the land you farm. You don't pay in money. Peasants don't have money. You pay in crops. A percentage of everything you grow goes to the Lord. The percentage varies by region and by lord. 30% minimum, often 40 or 50%, sometimes more. Sometimes the Lord just takes whatever he wants. You can't argue. You can't negotiate. You give him what he demands. The rent isn't optional. It's not negotiable. You harvest your grain. The Lord's bailiff comes to inspect. He counts your harvest. He takes the Lord's share. Just takes it. Loads it onto carts. Hauls it away. You watch your food leave. Food you grew. Food you need. Food that represents months of backbreaking labor. Gone. The bailiff doesn't care that you're hungry. The Lord doesn't care. The system doesn't care. Pay your rent or lose everything. Can't pay rent? You're evicted. Eviction means losing your land strips. losing your house, losing everything. You become landless, homeless, a vagabond. Vagabonds are illegal. You can be arrested for being homeless. The crime of poverty. You have nowhere to go, no safety net, no social services. You starve. You die. The system has no place for people who can't pay. The system discards you. Second, labor service. Corvée labor. You owe the Lord free work, several days per week, usually 2 to 3 days, sometimes more during planting and harvest. You work the Lord's demesne, his personal farmland, for free, no payment, no compensation, just mandatory free labor. The labor is the same work you do on your own land, plowing, planting, weeding, harvesting. Except this benefits the Lord, not you. You're giving him your labor, your time, your energy, your productivity. You could be working your own fields. Instead, you're working his. Your crops suffer. Your family suffers. You work for free while your own work goes undone. The days aren't flexible. You can't choose which days. The Lord decides. The bailiff tells you when to report. You report. You work. All day. Sunrise to sunset. Then you go home and work your own land by moonlight, if there's a moon. If there's no moon, your work just doesn't get done. You fall behind. You're always behind. The system ensures you're always behind. Boon work is extra. Special projects. The Lord needs a building constructed. You build it for free. The Lord needs ditches dug. You dig them for free. The Lord needs roads repaired. You repair them for free. These obligations come up irregularly, unpredictably. You never know when you'll be called for boon work. You just know you will be. You can't refuse. Refusal is rebellion. Rebellion is punished severely. During harvest, boon work intensifies. The Lord's harvest happens first, before yours. His crops get harvested with your labor, while your crops sit in the field, over-ripening, starting to fall. Your labor harvests his grain while yours is wasted. This is the system. His needs come first, always. Your needs come last, if they're considered at all. Third, the mill monopoly. You must use the Lord's mill to grind grain. Must. You cannot grind grain at home. You cannot use a hand quern, a hand-powered grain grinder. Those are illegal. The Lord owns the mill. The mill monopoly. You bring your grain to his mill. You pay to use it. Usually about 1/16 of your grain. Another chunk of your food gone. More profit for the Lord. The mill is often poorly maintained. The miller is often corrupt. He takes extra grain. You can't prove it. You can't complain. Complaining to whom? The Lord? The miller works for the Lord. The system protects itself. You're robbed legally. The robbery is built into the structure. The oven monopoly works the same way. You must use the Lord's oven to bake bread. You cannot bake at home. Home ovens are forbidden. The Lord's oven requires payment. More grain, more fees, more of your food transferred to the wealthy. The monopolies are everywhere. Everything you need, the Lord controls. Every transaction, he profits from. The extraction is comprehensive. Fourth, the marriage tax. Want to get married? Pay the Lord. The merchant. A fee for permission to marry. You need permission. You're not free to marry whoever you want. The Lord must approve. Usually he approves if you pay. The payment is significant. Maybe several days' worth of grain, maybe a chicken, maybe your only pig. The cost is whatever the Lord decides. You pay or you don't marry. Marrying someone from another village, outside the Lord's domain, extra fee, higher payment. The Lord is losing a worker. Your sons and daughters would be born elsewhere. Would work for a different Lord. Your Lord wants compensation. He demands it. You pay extra, or you don't marry the person you want. Love is expensive. Love is often impossible. Fifth, inheritance tax. Your father dies. You inherit his land strips, his obligations, his place in the system. But first, pay the Lord. The Harriet, death tax. You owe the Lord your father's best animal. The cow if he had one, the pig if not. The Lord takes it, right after your father's death, while you're grieving, while you're figuring out survival. The Lord's representative shows up, takes the animal, leaves. The timing is cruel. The practice is universal. Can't pay the Harriot? You don't inherit. The land goes back to the Lord. He reassigns it to someone who can pay. You're landless, homeless. Your father's legacy means nothing. The system doesn't care about family continuity, only about payment, only about profit. The Lord profits from every death. Death is a revenue stream. Sixth, movement restrictions. You cannot leave the manor without permission, cannot travel, cannot visit the next village without the Lord's consent. You're geographically bound. The world beyond your village might as well not exist. You'll never see it, you'll never leave. This is your entire universe, 5 square miles, forever. Want to leave for legitimate reasons? Pilgrimage, maybe. Visiting sick relatives. You petition the Lord. You explain. You beg. Maybe he grants permission. Maybe he doesn't. His decision is arbitrary, based on his mood, based on whether he needs your labor that week, based on nothing. You have no rights, no appeals. His word is law. Leave without permission? You're a fugitive. Runaway serf. If you're caught, you're punished. Beaten, fined, imprisoned. Return to your lord. The other lords cooperate. They have the same system. They return runaways to each other. The system protects itself. Escape is nearly impossible. The whole structure is designed to prevent it. Seventh, military service in some regions. When the Lord goes to war, you might be obligated to serve. As a foot soldier, with minimal training, terrible equipment, no armor, maybe a spear. You're cannon fodder. Peasant levies are expendable. The nobles are on horses with armor. You're on foot with a stick. The enemy kills you first. You die for your lord's ambitions. Die for wars you don't understand. Die for causes that don't benefit you. Your death enriches nobles. Your survival is irrelevant. Eighth, forest laws. The forest belongs to the Lord. You cannot hunt there, cannot take wood without permission, cannot forage freely. These are the Lord's resources. Taking them is theft. Poaching. The penalties are severe. Lose a hand for killing a deer, blinding for repeat offenses. Death for persistent poaching. The forest is right there, full of food. You're starving. You still can't touch it. The cruelty is systematic. You need firewood. Firewood to cook, to heat your house, to survive winter. You can gather dead wood, fallen branches only. Not cut living wood, not take good timber. Just scraps. Just the leavings. And even then, only from designated areas. Only with permission. Your access to basic survival resources is restricted, controlled, monitored. Ninth, fishing restrictions. Rivers and streams belong to the Lord. The fish in them are his property. You cannot fish freely. You can fish in designated areas with permission. Maybe. If the Lord is generous. Usually he's not. The protein is swimming right there. You're malnourished. You still can't have it. Property rights trump survival needs. Always. The system values ownership over human life. 10th, justice. The Lord runs the manor court. He is the judge. His bailiff is the prosecutor. His reeve is the administrator. The system is the Lord's system. Justice is whatever benefits the Lord. You have no rights, no representation, no appeal. The court exists to maintain order, the Lord's order. Your order doesn't matter. Accused of something? Theft, maybe. Trespassing. Poaching. You're tried in manor court. The evidence is whatever the bailiff says. Your defense is whatever you can stammer out. You're terrified, illiterate. You don't understand legal proceedings. You're found guilty. The verdict was predetermined. Punishment follows. Fine if you can pay. Physical punishment if you can't. Beating. Stocks. Public humiliation. Maybe worse. The stocks are in the village center. Wooden frame. Locks around your neck and wrists. You're trapped, bent over, uncomfortable, painful. You stay there for hours, maybe days. Everyone sees you. Everyone knows you were punished. The young throw things. Adults mock you. The humiliation is the point. The pain is the point. You're an example. Obey or suffer. The message is clear. Fines are extractive. The Lord profits from your punishment. Your fined grain, animals, money if you somehow have any. The fine is whatever the Lord decides, proportionate to nothing except his greed. You're already poor. The fine makes you poorer. You slide deeper into poverty. This is intentional. Desperate peasants are compliant peasants. The system maintains desperation. Crimes against the Lord are special category. Stealing from the Lord, damaging his property, disrespecting his authority. These are serious. The punishments are harsh. Beating, mutilation, sometimes death. The Lord's property is sacred. Your property is nothing. The imbalance is total. Murder of another peasant? Manor court handles it. Fine to the Lord for losing a worker. Compensation to the victim's family, maybe? Probably not. Execution if the Lord feels like it. Maybe not. Justice is arbitrary, inconsistent, based on Lord's whim. No rule of law, just rule of power. The whole system is designed to extract, to control, to maintain hierarchy. You exist to work, to produce, to enrich the Lord. That's your purpose, your function, your only value. As a human being, you're worthless. As a worker, you're essential. The system recognizes only your labor value. Nothing else about you matters. Your sons and daughters inherit these obligations. All of them. They're born into serfdom, born into bondage, born into this system. They have no choice, no chance at anything different. They'll farm the same land, pay the same rents, serve the same lord, or his heir. The cycle continues. The oppression is generational. Hereditary poverty, hereditary servitude. The system reproduces itself perfectly. Can you buy your freedom? Theoretically, yes. Practically, no. The price is astronomical. Years of earnings, decades of earnings, money you'll never accumulate. You're spending everything just surviving. There's nothing left to save. The freedom price might as well be $1 million, technically achievable, realistically impossible. The option exists to give you hope. False hope. Hope that keeps you compliant. You'll never be free. Some peasants run to cities. Towns have different laws. City air makes you free, is the saying. Live in a city for a year and a day, you're free. Legally free. Serfdom ended. This sounds great. The reality is harder. Getting to a city requires travel. Travel requires permission. Permission is denied. You can't legally leave. If you run anyway, you're a fugitive. The Lord pursues runaways, sends men to find you, drag you back, punish you, make an example. Other peasants need to see. Running doesn't work. Escape is futile. Stay and obey. The Lord has resources. You have nothing. The odds are against you. If you make it to a city, you need work. Skilled work. You're a farmer. You have no city skills, no guild membership, no connections. You're competing with established workers. They don't want competition. They don't help you. You're homeless in a strange city. No food, no shelter, no support. You might be worse off than before. Freedom is useless if you're starving. Some make it, very few. Maybe 1 in 100 runaways successfully escapes and survives. The 99 others are caught, or die trying, or return voluntarily. The success rate is abysmal. Most people don't try. The risk is too high. The certainty of punishment versus the tiny chance of freedom. Most choose the known suffering over the probable death. Rational choice. Tragic choice. The Church supports this system. The Church says this is God's plan. The social hierarchy is divinely ordained. Nobles rule because God chose them. You serve because God put you here. Questioning the system is questioning God. Rebellion is sin. Obedience is virtue. Suffering is good for your soul. Your reward is in heaven, not on earth, never on earth. Earth is suffering. Heaven is later. Obey now, heaven later. This is the message. The priests tell you this every Sunday. The sermon is about obedience, about accepting your place, about not coveting what others have, about being grateful for what you have. What you have is nothing. You should be grateful for nothing. The ideology is perfect. The control is complete. Religion reinforces feudalism. Feudalism funds religion. They support each other. You're caught between them. Some peasants believe it. Genuinely believe God wants them poor, wants them suffering. This is their lot, their test, their burden. They accept it. They don't resist. They suffer quietly. They die quietly. They raise youngsters to suffer quietly. The ideology is internalized. The oppression becomes self-sustaining. You don't need guards when people police themselves. Others don't believe. They see the hypocrisy. The church is wealthy. Priests eat well. Bishops live in palaces. They preach poverty while living in luxury. The contradiction is obvious. But saying so is heresy. Heresy is punished, burned at the stake, punished. You keep your doubts quiet. You mouth the words. You attend Mass. You don't believe. You can't say so. Doubt is dangerous. Peasant revolts happen occasionally. Desperation reaches critical mass. Someone refuses to pay. Others join. The revolt spreads. Peasants march with improvised weapons, scythes, pitchforks, clubs. They demand lower rents. Better treatment, freedom, basic human dignity. The revolts are crushed. Always crushed. The nobles have armor, horses, training, professional soldiers. The peasants have rage and sticks. Rage is not effective against plate armor. The revolt fails. The leaders are executed, publicly, gruesomely, drawn and quartered, hanged, beheaded. The executions are spectacles. Everyone must watch. Learn the lesson. Rebellion ends in death. Horrible death. Obey or die. The surviving rebels are punished, beaten, mutilated, fined. Their families punished. Their villages fined collectively. The punishment is disproportionate. Deliberately disproportionate. Crush the spirit. Destroy the hope. Ensure no one tries again. The system survives. The system always survives. The peasants always lose. The Peasants' Revolt of 1381 in England. Wat Tyler leads peasants to London. They demand end to serfdom, fair wages, equal rights, radical demands, revolutionary demands. The king meets with them, agrees to their demands. They go home. The king's men hunt them down, execute the leaders, cancel the agreements, crush the revolt. Wat Tyler dies. The rebels die. Nothing changes. The system continues. The betrayal is total. This pattern repeats. Revolts flare up, get crushed. Peasants learn. Revolts are feudal. Obedience is survival. The system teaches this lesson repeatedly, brutally, effectively. By 1400, peasants mostly don't revolt. They endure. They suffer. They die. They don't fight back. The fight has been beaten out of them. The system won. Your life is not yours. Your time is not yours. Your labor is not yours. Your sons and daughters are not yours. Everything belongs to the system. The system owns you, uses you, discards you when you're used up. You're a resource, a tool, a means of production, not a person, not an individual, not a human being with rights and dignity, just a worker, just a serf, just property that breathes. This is feudalism. This is the system. This is your life. No escape, no hope, no future. Just endless labor and systematic oppression until death. Your sons and daughters will inherit this. Their youngsters will inherit this. Generation after generation. Centuries of this. The system is perfect at what it does. What it does is crush you. And we haven't even discussed the food yet. The actual diet. What you eat day after day. The malnutrition. The hunger. The diseases from deficiency. That's coming next. Because the oppression is terrible, yes. But the hunger is what you feel every single day. The hunger is constant. The hunger never stops. You're hungry. Not, I skipped breakfast hungry. Not, it's been a few hours hungry. Actually hungry. Genuinely malnourished hungry. Your body is consuming itself hungry. This is not occasional. This is constant. This is your baseline state. You wake up hungry. You work hungry. You go to sleep hungry. Hunger is your permanent companion. The average peasant diet provides maybe 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day. On good days. On bad days, much less. You're burning 3,000 to 3,500 calories doing manual farm labor. The math doesn't work. You're running a caloric deficit daily. Your body compensates by being smaller, weaker, chronically exhausted. Medieval peasants are short. Malnourished bodies don't grow tall. Men average 5'5", women 5'1". Modern people tower over medieval peasants. The height difference is malnutrition made visible. Let's catalog what you actually eat. The complete medieval peasant menu. Spoiler, it's the same thing every day. Variety is not a feature of your diet. Monotony is. Bread, the foundation of everything. Bread provides maybe 60 to 70% of your calories. You eat bread at every meal. Dark, dense bread made from whatever grain you have. Usually barley or rye. Sometimes wheat if you're fortunate. Usually not wheat. Wheat is expensive. Wheat is for nobles. You get barley. Barley bread is heavy, dense, dark brown or gray. The texture is rough, gritty. Sometimes there are bits of stone in it from the grinding process. The millstone wears down. Stone fragments end up in your flour, end up in your bread. You bite down. Your teeth hit stone. Your teeth crack. Dental damage from bread is common, very appetizing. The bread goes stale quickly. You bake maybe once a week. By day 7, the bread is rock hard. You can't bite it. Your teeth can't handle it. You soak it in liquid. Water, ale, whatever you have. The bread softens, becomes mushy. You eat mushy bread. The taste is wet grain. Not good, not terrible, just calories. You need calories. You eat the bread. Sometimes the grain is moldy. You grind moldy grain into flour. Bake it anyway. Can't waste food. The bread tastes off. Makes you a little sick. You eat it anyway. Sometimes the mold is ergot. Ergot is a fungus that grows on rye. Ergot poisoning causes hallucinations, convulsions, gangrene. Your fingers and toes turn black and fall off. Ergot poisoning kills people. You're eating it in your bread. You don't know. No one knows. Ergot won't be identified as dangerous for centuries. You just know sometimes bread makes people crazy. Sometimes bread makes people's extremities rot off. You eat the bread anyway. Options are limited. Pottage, the other staple. Pottage is vegetable stew. You make it in a pot. The pot hangs over your fire constantly. You add things to the pot. Water, vegetables, whatever you have. You boil it. You eat it. You add more things. You boil it more. The pot never completely empties. The pottage is continuous. Perpetual stew. Whatever's in there today includes remnants of last week's pottage, the archaeological layers of previous meals. Very fresh, very sanitary. What goes in the pottage? Onions if you have them, leeks, cabbage, turnips, root vegetables, whatever grows in your garden plot. The garden is small, maybe 1/8 acre. You grow vegetables there, peas, beans, carrots sometimes, beets. The variety is limited. The yield is small. You're lucky to get enough to supplement your grain diet. The vegetables are tough, fibrous. Not the tender, cultivated vegetables of modern times. These are medieval vegetables. Hardy, bitter, unpleasant. You boil them until they're soft. Very soft. The nutrients boil out into the water. You drink the water too. Can't waste nutrition. The whole thing tastes like boiled plant matter. No seasoning, no salt unless you're wealthy, no herbs unless you grow them, just vegetables and water. Peas and beans are important. They're protein, dried peas, dried beans. You store them. They last through winter. You add them to pottage. You make peas pottage, pea stew. The peas are dry and hard. You boil them for hours. They soften. Sort of. They're still a bit tough. You eat them anyway. Protein is precious. You need protein. You're not getting it from meat. You're getting it from peas. The peas are boring. Everything is boring. Porridge we discussed, grain boiled in water, breakfast every day, sometimes dinner, sometimes the only meal. Oats or barley, usually. The porridge is thick, lumpy, flavorless. You eat it because you must. The alternative is starvation. Given those options, flavorless porridge wins. Barely. Ale. You drink ale constantly, not for fun, for safety. The water is contaminated. We discussed this. Dysentery lives in water. Death lives in water. Ale is safer. The brewing process involves boiling water. Boiling kills some pathogens. Not all. Some. Ale is marginally safer than water. You drink ale. Medieval peasant ale is weak. Very weak. Maybe 1 to 3% alcohol. Barely alcoholic. Just enough to make it safer than water. Not enough to get drunk unless you drink gallons. You drink gallons. Everyone drinks gallons. The young drink ale. Infants get ale. Everyone is mildly buzzed all the time. Very slightly. The alcohol level is low enough that you're mostly functional. Mostly. The ale tastes terrible. Sour, bitter, weird. No hops in most medieval ale. Hops won't be common for a while. Instead, they use gruit, a mixture of herbs. The herbs vary. The taste varies. Usually it's bad. You drink it anyway. The alternative is dysentery. You choose ale. Milk if you have a cow. Most peasants don't have cows. Cows are expensive. If you have one, you milk it daily. The milk doesn't keep. No refrigeration. Milk spoils in hours. You drink it fresh. You make cheese to preserve it. The cheese is simple, hard, salty, keeps for months. Cheese is valuable. You eat some, you sell some. The protein and fat are precious. You ration the cheese carefully. Butter if you're making cheese. Butter is cream churned until it solidifies. The process is labor-intensive. You shake cream in a container for 30 to 40 minutes. Your arms hurt. Eventually, butter forms. You use butter sparingly. It's valuable. It's trading material. You don't slather it on bread. You use tiny amounts. Make it last. The butter tastes good. Tastes rich. You rarely get to enjoy it. Most of it goes to the Lord or gets sold. Eggs from chickens. If you have chickens, most peasants have a few chickens. The chickens are scrawny. Medieval chickens are not modern egg-laying machines. They're basically wild birds that tolerate human presence. They lay eggs irregularly. Maybe 3 eggs per week per chicken? Maybe. You collect them carefully. Eggs are protein. Eggs are valuable. You eat some. You sell some. The eggs you eat are a treat. Actual animal protein. Rare in your diet. Meat. Let's talk about meat. Or the lack of it. Peasants eat meat rarely. Very rarely. Maybe once a week if you're fortunate. More likely once a month. Maybe less. Meat is expensive. Animals are valuable alive. They produce milk. Eggs. They work. They're worth more alive than dead. You can't afford to slaughter them for food. The pig. If you raise a pig, and most peasants try, the pig eats scraps for a year, grows, gets fat. You slaughter it in late autumn. The timing is strategic. Food is scarce in winter. You can't feed a pig all winter. Slaughter in November. The cold weather preserves meat. Natural refrigeration. The slaughter is a big event. The whole family participates. You kill the pig. Bleed it. Butcher it. The process is brutal. Messy. Bloody. You save everything. Every part. The meat gets preserved. Salted heavily. Smoked. Turned into sausage. The organs get eaten fresh. The blood makes blood pudding. The intestines become sausage casings. The bones make broth. The fat renders into lard. Nothing is wasted. Every part of the pig serves a purpose. One pig feeds a family for months. If you're careful, if you ration, you eat small portions. Make it last until spring. The salted pork is incredibly salty, overwhelmingly salty. You soak it before eating to remove some salt. It's still salty. The salt is preservation. The salt is survival. You eat salty meat. Your blood pressure would horrify modern doctors. Bacon exists. Medieval bacon is not modern bacon. It's salted pork belly. Extremely salty. Rock hard. You cut thin slices. Add them to pottage for flavor. The fat and salt improve everything. One piece of bacon flavors an entire pot of pottage. You make it last. A pig's worth of bacon lasts months. Chickens get slaughtered occasionally. When they stop laying, old chickens are tough, very tough. You boil them for hours. The meat is stringy, chewy, not pleasant. You eat it anyway. Protein is protein. The broth is good. The broth has flavor. Actual chicken flavor. You savor the broth. Drink it slowly. Enjoy the one time this month you taste something good. Hunting is illegal. We mentioned this. The forest game belongs to the Lord. Deer are the Lord's deer. Rabbits are the Lord's rabbits. Taking them is poaching. Poaching is serious crime. The penalties are severe. Lose a hand. Blinding. Death. The punishment far exceeds the crime. The message is clear. Don't touch the Lord's property. Some people poach anyway. Desperation drives people to risk. You're starving. Your sons and daughters are starving. There's a deer in the forest. You kill it. You bring it home. You hide the meat. You eat it, secretly, furtively. If you're caught, you're done. Mutilated, killed. You take the risk. Sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. The gamble is terrible. The hunger is worse. Fish are theoretically available. Rivers have fish. Streams have fish. But fishing requires time, equipment, permission. You have none of these. You're working constantly. You don't have fishing equipment. You don't have permission. Occasionally you catch fish by hand, in shallow water. Small fish, minnows practically. You eat them whole, bones and all. The nutrition is minimal. The effort is significant. You do it anyway. Any protein is good protein. Cheese and fish on Fridays. The church requires no meat on Fridays, and Lent, and other holy days. Maybe 150 days per year are meatless. This rule affects nobles who eat meat regularly. For you, it's meaningless. You don't eat meat anyway. Friday is the same as Tuesday. No meat, just grain and vegetables. The church's dietary restrictions don't restrict you. You're already at the bottom. There's nothing below to restrict to. Fruit is seasonal. Apples in autumn, pears, berries in summer. You eat them fresh. They don't keep. No preservation technology beyond drying. You dry some apples, some pears. The dried fruit is leathery, tough, sweet though. Actual sweetness. Sugar is rare in your diet. Fruit provides it. You savor dried fruit. Make it last. 1 piece per day if you're disciplined. The sweetness is a luxury. One of your only luxuries. Honey, if you're incredibly fortunate, some peasants keep bees. The bees provide honey. Honey is the only sweetener. Honey is precious, more valuable than you can afford to consume. You sell honey. Trade it. Use it sparingly. A tiny amount in ale makes it drinkable. A tiny amount on bread makes it special. You use drops, not spoonfuls, drops. Make the honey last years. Nuts in autumn. Hazelnuts, walnuts, if you can gather them before squirrels do. The nuts are protein, fat, calories. You collect them, dry them, store them, eat them carefully. 1 or 2 per day. Make them last through winter. The nuts taste good, rich, fatty. You enjoy them. Actual enjoyment of food, rare. Salt is expensive, very expensive. You can't afford much salt. You need salt for preservation, for the pig, for cheese. You use salt carefully. Ration it. Your food is undersalted, bland, boring. Salt would help. You don't have enough. Your diet is fundamentally bland. Everything tastes like thing with no seasoning. Spices don't exist for you. Pepper is worth its weight in silver. Literally. You'll never taste pepper. Cinnamon is a fantasy. Nutmeg is a legend. Ginger is something rich people have. You have nothing. No spices, no seasoning beyond occasional onions. The flavor profile of your diet is grain, vegetables, and sadness. Meal frequency varies by season and work. During harvest, you eat 3 times. Need calories for the brutal labor, porridge for breakfast, bread and pottage for midday, more pottage for dinner. Winter, you might eat twice. Once, food is scarce. You ration. Fewer meals means food lasts longer. Your body adjusts poorly, but adjusts. The portions are small. Not modern small, actually small. A bowl of pottage, a piece of bread. That's a meal. The bowl is maybe 8 ounces. The bread is a few ounces. The total calories are maybe 400 to 500. You need 3 meals like this to get adequate calories. Often you get 2 meals, sometimes 1. The math doesn't work. You're calorie deficient chronically. The young eat less than adults. They need to. There's not enough food for everyone to eat adequately. The young get smaller portions. They're hungry, always hungry. Growing young people need calories. They don't get enough. They're stunted. Growth is impaired. They don't reach their genetic height potential. Malnutrition in childhood causes permanent physical effects. Everyone is smaller, weaker. The whole population is undernourished. The Hungry Gap, February through April. This is hell. Your stored grain is running low. Last harvest was 6 months ago. Next harvest is months away. You're rationing heavily. 1 meal per day, maybe? Small portions. You're starving. Everyone is starving. The young cry from hunger. You can't help. There's no food. You tell them to drink water. Water fills the stomach temporarily. Doesn't provide calories. Doesn't help. Just delays the hunger briefly. People die during the Hungry Gap. The weak, the old, the very young. Starvation is slow death. You lose weight, become lethargic. Your body consumes muscle. Fat is long gone. You're burning muscle tissue for energy. Your immune system fails. You get sick. The sickness kills you. Death certificates would say malnutrition if death certificates existed. They don't. You just die. Another Hungry Gap casualty. Spring greens save some people. When plants start growing, you eat them immediately. Nettles, dandelion greens, anything edible. The greens are bitter, tough. You don't care. They're calories. They're vitamins. You eat them raw, boil them, whatever. Just eat them. The greens bridge the gap until harvest. Barely. Some people make it. Some don't. The survival rate during Hungry Gap is worse than other times. Malnutrition causes specific diseases. Scurvy from lack of vitamin C. Your gums bleed. Your teeth fall out. Wounds don't heal. You bruise easily. Winter is scurvy season. No fresh vegetables. No fruit. No vitamin C. You're deficient. You're scurvy adjacent constantly. Maybe not full scurvy, but close. Your gums bleed sometimes. That's scurvy trying to happen. Rickets from lack of vitamin D. The young's bones don't develop properly. Bow-legged young people are common. Bent spines. Deformed bones. The young people in your village look malnourished. Because they are. Visibly, obviously malnourished. This is normal. This is what peasant youngsters look like. Stunted. Bowed. Underdeveloped. Anemia from lack of iron. Lack of meat means lack of iron. You're tired constantly. Weak. Pale. Women are more anemic. Menstruation depletes iron. Childbearing depletes iron. They never recover. Women are chronically anemic. Weak. Exhausted. They keep working. They have to. Being anemic doesn't excuse you from labor. Pellagra from niacin deficiency causes skin problems, diarrhea, dementia, death. The 4 Ds of pellagra. You're eating mostly grain. Corn-based diets cause pellagra. European grain is better, but still deficient. Your borderline pellagra constantly. The skin on your hands is rough, cracked, damaged, part malnutrition, part hard work, part disease. The combination is terrible. Your teeth are destroyed, partly from lack of nutrition, partly from sugary dried fruit, partly from gritty bread, partly from lack of dental care. By age 30, your teeth are mostly gone. By 40, you're essentially toothless. Eating is difficult. You can't chew tough foods. You eat soft foods. Porridge, soft bread soaked in liquid, boiled vegetables. Your diet becomes even more limited, more bland, more depressing. The malnutrition is visible. You're thin, very thin. Skin stretched over bones. No body fat. No muscle definition. Just bones and thin skin. You look like a famine victim. You are a famine victim. The famine is chronic. Your entire life is slow-motion starvation. You never have enough. Never. The abundance is always just out of reach. Compare your diet to the noble's diet. The Lord eats meat daily. Multiple types. Beef, pork, chicken, fish, game birds, venison. He has choices, variety, flavor. His bread is white wheat bread, soft, delicious. He has spices, imported spices. His food is seasoned, flavored, enjoyable. He drinks wine, good wine, imported wine. He has cheese, good cheese, aged cheese, multiple types. His table is abundance. Your table is scarcity. He gains weight. You lose weight. He's healthy. You're malnourished. The inequality is stark, visible, undeniable. You see the Lord occasionally. He's well-fed, robust, healthy. You're thin, weak, sickly. The class difference is written on your bodies, written in your health, written in your life expectancy. The Lord lives to 60, 70, sometimes 80. He eats well his whole life. Good nutrition extends life. You live to 45 if you're lucky, 50 if you're very lucky. Your poor diet kills you early, along with everything else. But the malnutrition contributes significantly. Well-fed people live longer. You're not well-fed. You die young. Your sons and daughters watch you eat your small portions. They eat their smaller portions. They see the inequality, not with the Lord. They don't see the Lord's table, but they see other villages, maybe. They hear stories. They know food exists somewhere. They're just not getting it. They're hungry. You're hungry. Everyone you know is hungry. The hunger is universal. The hunger is normal. The hunger is inescapable. This is your diet. Bread, pottage, porridge, ale, occasional eggs, rare meat, malnutrition, hunger. This is every day. This is every meal. This is your entire culinary experience. From birth to death, the same things, the same blandness, the same insufficiency, the same hunger. And we haven't talked about the life expectancy in detail yet. The statistics, how long you actually survive, how many ways this life kills you. The comprehensive mortality picture, that's coming. The food is terrible, yes. The hunger is constant. But the death rate is what really shows how bad this is. The numbers are devastating. Let's talk numbers. Statistics. The cold, brutal mathematics of medieval peasant mortality. Because the individual suffering is terrible, yes. But the scale is what really shows how catastrophic this is. The death rates are staggering. The life expectancy is abysmal. The ways this life kills you are comprehensive. You're born. Congratulations on existing. Your odds of surviving the first year, 70%. Maybe. That's the optimistic estimate. 30% of infants die in their first year. 3 in 10 infants, dead before their first birthday. The causes are numerous. Disease, malnutrition, birth defects, accidents, neglect. Not intentional neglect, survival neglect. Your mother is working. She can't watch you constantly. You're left alone. Things happen. Infants die. The infants who die are buried quickly. quietly. No elaborate funerals. No grieving period. Your mother cries, goes back to work the next day. She has to. Work doesn't stop for grief. The infant is buried in the village graveyard. Small grave. No headstone. The graves are unmarked. You'll forget which grave is which eventually. They all blur together. Too many infant losses. Too many small graves. If you survive year 1, your odds improve slightly. Slightly. Years 2 through 5 are still dangerous. Disease is everywhere. Dysentery, measles, smallpox, whooping cough, scarlet fever. These are childhood killers. They sweep through villages regularly. The young die in clusters. An epidemic comes. 5 perish. 10 perish. The village mourns. Buries the dead. Continues. What else can they do? Overall youth mortality, 50% don't reach age 5. Half, 5 out of 10 youngsters born will be dead before age 5. This is not worst-case scenario. This is average, normal, expected. Every family loses the young. Every family experiences infant loss, toddler loss. The grief is universal. The pain is shared. No one escapes it. Your parents have 8 young ones. You're one of them. 4 of your siblings die in childhood. This is mathematical probability. You watch them die. You're 5 years old watching your toddler sister die of dysentery. She's shitting blood, crying, suffering, then silent, then dead. You'll remember this forever. This is your childhood. Death is your childhood companion. The young ones who survive to age 5 are the strong ones, the lucky ones, the genetically fortunate. They had better immune systems, better nutrition somehow, better luck. Random chance favored them. They survived. Half didn't. The survivors carry guilt. Survivor's guilt at age 5. You wonder why you lived when your siblings died. There's no answer. Just luck. Terrible, arbitrary luck. Ages 5 to 15. Still dangerous. Not as deadly as early childhood, but dangerous. You're working now. Work means injuries, farm accidents, animal attacks. You're exposed to everything. Disease, hunger, cold. You're still growing, still developing. Malnutrition affects your growth. You're shorter than your genetic potential, weaker. Your body is compromised from the start. Adolescent mortality. Maybe 15 to 20% die between ages 5 and 15. Not as high as childhood, still significant. 1 in 5 doesn't make it to adulthood, disease mostly. Tuberculosis starts claiming victims, accidents increase. You're doing dangerous work. Sometimes that work kills you. You're 12 years old. You fall off a roof while repairing thatch. Break your neck. Dead. Your parents bury you. Add you to those lost young. Keep working. Keep living. Keep suffering. If you make it to age 20, you've beaten significant odds. You're a survivor, literally. Most of your siblings are dead. Half your childhood friends are dead. You're familiar with death, intimate with death. Death has been your constant companion. You've attended dozens of funerals. You'll attend dozens more. Life expectancy at age 20, maybe 50 years total. You've got 30 more years, maybe. This is average. Some die younger, some live longer. 30 years of brutal labor, constant hunger, systematic oppression, then death. That's what you have to look forward to. 3 decades. Not great. Could be worse. You could already be dead. Adult mortality is more varied. The causes are diverse. Let's enumerate them. Let's catalog all the ways medieval peasant life kills you. Starvation. Direct starvation. Famine years happen regularly. Every 10 to 20 years, crops fail catastrophically. Weather is terrible. Frost kills seedlings. Drought withers crops. Excessive rain rots grain. The harvest fails. You have no food. You stored some grain. It runs out by February, March, April. You're starving. Actually, starving. Your body is consuming itself. You get weaker, sicker, you die. Famine kills 10 to 15% of the population, sometimes more. The Great Famine of 1315 to 1317 killed maybe 25% of Northern Europe. 1/4 of the population dead from hunger, from diseases that exploit weakened bodies, from eating things humans shouldn't eat. People ate grass, bark, their shoes, their leather belts, anything to fill their stomachs. Most of it wasn't digestible. People died with full stomachs of grass. The desperation is incomprehensible. You're not eating. Your sons and daughters are crying. They're hungry. You have nothing to give them. You watch them waste away. Get weaker. Stop crying eventually. Too weak to cry. Then they're gone. You're dying too. Slowly. Your body is shutting down. Organ failure from starvation is slow, painful. You're conscious until near the end. You know what's happening. You can't stop it. You die knowing you couldn't protect them. The psychological torture is worse than the physical. Disease, the constant killer. Tuberculosis claims 1 in 3 adults. We mentioned this. It's worth repeating. 1 in 3. TB is slow death, years of wasting, coughing, weakness. You spread it to your family. They get it. They die too. The whole family consumed by consumption. Very poetic, very deadly. Dysentery kills year-round. More in summer, more in warm weather. The bacteria thrive. The water contamination intensifies. You drink contaminated water, you get dysentery. The dehydration is rapid. The fluid loss is catastrophic. You either recover or die. Older adults die more often. Weakened bodies can't handle the stress. You're 40 years old. You get dysentery. Your body can't recover. You die shitting yourself. Undignified. Horrible. Common. Plague when it comes through. We discussed this. Bears repeating. Plague kills 60% of infected people. Bubonic plague. Pneumonic plague is worse. 90+% mortality. Pneumonic plague spreads through coughing. Someone coughs. You breathe. You're infected. 2 days later, you're dead. The speed is terrifying. The mortality is apocalyptic. The Black Death of 1347 to 1351 kills maybe 30 to 60% of Europe. The estimates vary. The death toll is somewhere between 75 and 200 million people. The scale is unprecedented. Villages are wiped out, completely depopulated, everyone dead. The survivors are traumatized beyond description. The world population doesn't recover for centuries. Smallpox, measles, typhus, typhoid fever, all killers, all common, all untreatable. You get infected, you either survive or die. Coin flip odds usually. 50-50. Some diseases are worse, some are better. But the general pattern is, you might die, probably won't. Might. The uncertainty is constant. Every illness could be fatal. You never know until it resolves. Infections from injuries. Simple cuts kill people. A scratch from a farming tool gets infected. Spreads. Sepsis develops. You're dead in a week. Broken bones that get infected. Compound fractures are death sentences. The bone breaks through skin. Bacteria enter. Infection is guaranteed. Amputation might save you. Probably won't. Usually the infection is too advanced. You die from a broken leg. This happens regularly. Childbirth for women. Maternal mortality is 1 to 2% per birth. Doesn't sound terrible until you remember women have 5 to 8 births. The cumulative risk is 8 to 16%. 1 in 12 women dies in childbirth. Over their lifetime, 1 in 12. The odds are terrible. The causes of maternal death are numerous. Hemorrhage during delivery. The bleeding can't be stopped. No surgical intervention. No blood transfusions. You bleed out. Dead in minutes. Postpartum infection. Puerperal fever. The uterus gets infected. Sepsis develops. Slow death over days. Obstructed labor. The infant can't come out. Labor goes on for days. The mother exhausts. The infant dies. The mother dies. Both dead. Double tragedy. Breech birth usually means death. The infant is positioned wrong. Feet first, buttocks first. The delivery is nearly impossible. The infant might survive. The mother might survive. Usually both die. Sometimes just the infant. Sometimes just the mother. The variation is cruel. The outcome is usually death. Medieval midwives try. They genuinely try. They don't have tools. Don't have knowledge. Don't have options. They can't save people. Women die. Infants die. Your wife is pregnant. This is her 6th pregnancy. She's already lost 2 in childbirth. 2 losses. She survived those births. This time, she doesn't. Hemorrhage. Massive hemorrhage. She's bleeding. You can't stop it. The midwife can't stop it. She dies in your arms, leaves you with 4 young ones to raise. You're devastated. Also practical. You need a new wife. The young ones need a mother. You remarry within months. Your new wife is 17. You're 38. She'll probably die in childbirth too. The cycle continues. Men die from workplace accidents. Farm accidents are constant. We discussed this. Falls, animal attacks, equipment failures. You're working with dangerous tools, operating heavy equipment, managing unpredictable animals. Something goes wrong. You're injured. The injury gets infected. You die. Or the injury itself kills you. Crushed by a cart, kicked in the head by a horse, drowned in a well. The methods are varied. The result is death. Violence kills some people. Fights during harvest, arguments over property, drunken brawls. You're drunk on ale. Someone insults you. You fight. You hit them too hard. They hit you too hard. Someone dies. Maybe them, maybe you. The violence is casual. The consequences are permanent. Dead from a fistfight. This happens. Bandits are a threat, especially during travel. You're traveling to market. Bandits ambush you. They want your goods, your money. You resist. They kill you. Take everything anyway. Your body is found later. Your family hears. Your wife is now a widow. Your sons and daughters are fatherless. The banditry is common enough to be a real risk. Not constant, but possible. Enough to fear. Judicial executions happen. You're accused of theft. Maybe you did it, maybe you didn't. Manor court finds you guilty. The punishment is hanging. You're hanged publicly. Everyone watches. Your family watches. They have to. The spectacle is mandatory. You die slowly. Hanging doesn't break your neck. You strangle. Takes minutes. Your family watches you strangle. This is justice. This is the system. Winter kills the elderly, the weak, the sick. You're 60 years old. That's ancient by peasant standards. Winter comes, your house is freezing, you're malnourished. You catch a cold. The cold becomes pneumonia. Pneumonia kills you. You die in your cold house. Your family buries you in frozen ground. Digging the grave takes hours. The ground is hard. You're buried shallow. Animals might dig you up, but you're buried. Added to the graveyard, one more death. The cumulative mortality is staggering. Let's do the math. Start with 100 infants born. 30 die in year 1. 70 remain. 20 more die by age 5. 50 remain. 10 more die by age 20. 40 reach adulthood. Of those 40, maybe 20 die by age 50 from various causes. 20 remain. By age 60, maybe 10 are left. By 70, maybe 3. By 80, maybe 1. 1 person out of 100 makes it to 80. 1%. The survival rate is catastrophic. Compare to modern developed countries. Start with 100 infants. 99 survive year 1. 98 reach age 5. 97 reach adulthood. 90 reach age 60. 80 reach 70. 60 reach 80. 40 reach 90. The improvement is extraordinary. Medieval odds versus modern odds. Medieval 1% reach 80. Modern 60% reach 80. The difference is 60 times better. 60 times. Life expectancy at birth, maybe 30 to 35 years. This is heavily skewed by infant mortality. Most people who die young are youngsters. If you survive the early years, your life expectancy improves. But not dramatically. The average adult still only lives to 50 or 55. That's average. Many die younger. Some live longer, but 55 is a good innings for a peasant. Modern life expectancy, 75 to 85 years in developed countries. The difference is 45 to 50 years. That's a whole extra lifetime. Medieval peasants live half as long as modern people. Half. The doubling of lifespan is recent. Very recent. Last century recent. Before that, everyone lived short, brutal lives. The reasons for low life expectancy are cumulative. Malnutrition weakens you. Disease attacks constantly. Injuries happen regularly. Work destroys your body. Stress is chronic. Medical care doesn't exist. Every factor compounds. Together they create a mortality machine. The machine runs efficiently. It processes peasants into corpses. The throughput is impressive. The waste is staggering. Human lives wasted. Human potential destroyed. Your genetics don't matter much. You might have excellent genes. Doesn't help. The environment overwhelms genetics. You're malnourished, diseased, overworked. Your good genes can't overcome terrible conditions. You die anyway. Maybe slightly older than average, maybe 47 instead of 45. The genetic advantage is minimal. Environmental factors dominate. The wealthy live longer. Nobles average 60 to 70 years. Clergy, similar. Wealthy merchants, similar. They eat better, live in better conditions, work less physically, have access to better care. The care is still medieval, still terrible, but relatively better. They survive the early years more often, survive disease more often, survive to old age more often. Wealth extends life, poverty shortens it. The correlation is absolute. Your class determines your lifespan more than anything else. Born noble, expect 60 plus years. Born peasant, expect 45 if you're lucky. The 30-year gap is purely socio-economic. Same diseases exist, same dangers exist, but resources differ. Money buys food, shelter, warmth. These buy years. Poverty sells years. Trades lifespan for survival. You're selling your years working to barely survive. The exchange rate is terrible. Regional variation exists. Italian peasants live slightly longer. Better climate. Mediterranean diet, even in poverty, is better. English peasants die younger. Worse climate. Worse food. German peasants in between. French similar to English. The variations are maybe 5 years either way. Still terrible everywhere. Just varying degrees of terrible. Urban versus rural. City dwellers die younger. Cities are disease incubators. Crowding, poor sanitation, contaminated water. Plague loves cities. Typhus thrives in cities. The urban death rate exceeds the birth rate usually. Cities only grow through migration. People move to cities, die in cities. More people move. The cycle continues. Cities are death traps. Rural areas are slightly less deadly. Slightly. War increases mortality. Peasant levies are expendable. You're sent to fight. Most of you die. The survivors return traumatized, disabled. War destroys villages. Armies pass through. Steal food, burn crops, attack women, kill people. The army doesn't care which side you're on. You're just peasants. Acceptable casualties. The war moves on, leaves destruction, leaves bodies, leaves starvation. The death toll from war includes direct deaths and subsequent starvation. Both are terrible. The 100 Years' War, 1337 to 1453. The war devastates France. Armies march back and forth. Villages are destroyed, crops burned, people killed. The war itself kills thousands. The famines it causes kill more. The diseases that follow famine kill even more. The total death toll is millions. Millions of peasants dead from a war between nobles over succession rights. You die so nobles can settle dynastic disputes. Your life is worth nothing to them. Climate affects mortality. The medieval warm period, 900 to 1300, is relatively good. Warmer weather, better harvests, lower death rates. Still terrible, but less terrible. The Little Ice Age begins around 1300. Temperatures drop, growing seasons shorten, harvests fail more often, famines increase, death rates spike. You're dying from climate change. Medieval climate change, natural climate change. You can't control it, can't adapt sufficiently, just suffer and die. The year 1315, the Great Famine begins. The rains don't stop. All summer, rain. The crops rot in the fields. Harvest fails catastrophically. 1316, same thing. Rain, crop failure, famine deepens. 1317, partial recovery, but millions are already dead. Estimated 10 to 25% of Northern Europe dies, starved, or died of diseases that exploit starved bodies. Your village of 150 people loses 37, dead. In 3 years, the graves multiply. The survivors are traumatized. Everyone lost family. Everyone lost friends. The communal grief is overwhelming. You survived the famine. You're one of the lucky ones. Lucky to be alive. Lucky to have eaten grass and survived. Lucky to have lost only 3 youngsters instead of all 5. Lucky to still be working. Still suffering. Still alive. The luck is relative. Survival is victory. Nothing more. The cumulative trauma is extraordinary. You're 35 years old. You've survived diseases of the young. Famine in 1315, plague in 1348, war passed through in 1340. You've watched dozens die. Siblings, parents, the young, friends, neighbors. You're numb, emotionally destroyed. You keep working. What else can you do? Collapse? Give up? You can't. You have surviving young ones. Obligations. You continue. You endure. This is life. This is all there is. The psychological toll is never discussed. Mental health is not a concept. PTSD doesn't have a name. Depression is melancholy. Anxiety is nerves. You're clearly traumatized, obviously suffering. No one talks about it. Everyone is traumatized. Everyone is suffering. This is normal. This is expected. You cope by not thinking about it. Work helps. Constant work prevents thinking, prevents feeling. You work until exhaustion. Sleep. Repeat. The emotional numbness is survival mechanism. Some people break, can't cope. They give up, stop working, stop eating, just die. Despair kills. Quietly, slowly, they waste away. Everyone knows what's happening. No one intervenes. Can't intervene. What help exists? None. They die. They're buried. Life continues. The survivors continue. What else can they do? This is the mortality picture. This is how medieval peasant life kills you. Systematically, comprehensively, efficiently. Half the young die early. Half of adults die before 50. Almost everyone dies before 60. The survivors are damaged, traumatized, physically broken, emotionally destroyed. They continue because they must, because stopping means death, because this is all there is. And we haven't compared this fully to modern life yet, haven't cataloged all the specific improvements, haven't shown exactly how far we've come. That's next, because the medieval mortality is terrible. But the modern improvements are miraculous. The contrast is staggering. You need to see how lucky you are, how different your life is, how much progress has happened. Let's compare. Medieval peasant life versus modern life. The full contrast. Because you need to see exactly how different things are, how much has changed, how far we've come. The improvements are staggering. The progress is extraordinary. You're living in a miracle age and don't realize it. You're mourning. Modern version. Alarm goes off. You hit snooze. You're sleeping on a mattress, an actual mattress, springs, foam, memory foam maybe, comfortable. You're not sharing it with strangers, just your partner if you have one. The bed has sheets, clean sheets, washed regularly, pillows, multiple pillows. You're warm. Your house has central heating. The temperature is controlled, 70 degrees, 68. Whatever you set it to, you chose. You control your environment. This is miraculous. Medieval version. You wake before dawn on straw shared with 3 people and various parasites. The temperature is whatever outside temperature is minus 10 degrees. You're cold, always cold. You have no control, no choice. You get up because you must. The comparison is stark. Modern comfort versus medieval suffering. You're winning by default, by birth, by timing. Your bathroom. Modern version. You walk to your bathroom. Private bathroom. Your bathroom. You use the toilet. Flush. The waste disappears. Gone. You don't think about where it goes. Treatment plants handle it. You wash your hands. Hot water. Instant hot water. Soap. Actual soap. You dry your hands. You're clean. This took 2 minutes. You didn't think about it. Completely automatic. Completely normal. Completely impossible for medieval peasants. Medieval version. You use a bucket. Shared bucket. In the same room as your family. No privacy. You'll empty it later. Maybe. Into the street. The waste stays nearby. Contaminates everything. You don't wash your hands. You have no soap, no hot water, no running water at all. You're dirty. You'll stay dirty. This is normal. This is life. The modern bathroom is science fiction level luxury. Your breakfast, modern version. You go to your kitchen, open the refrigerator. Refrigerator. Think about this. A cold box that preserves food. You have options. Eggs, bacon, milk, cereal, bread, butter, jam, coffee, orange juice. You choose. You have agency. You have variety. You cook eggs. The stove heats instantly. Gas stove or electric. Doesn't matter. Both are magic compared to medieval cooking. You eat. The food is flavored, seasoned, enjoyable. You finish breakfast in 15 minutes. You're full, satisfied, ready for the day. Medieval version. Porridge. The same porridge. Grain and water. Flavorless. Bland. Insufficient calories. You're still hungry after eating. You're always hungry. The breakfast took the same 15 minutes but provided less than half the calories and zero enjoyment. Modern breakfast wins. Completely. Utterly. Absolutely. Your commute. Modern version. You get in your car. Your personal vehicle. Climate controlled. Music playing. You drive to work. The roads are paved. Smooth. The trip takes 20 minutes. You travel 10 miles. You do this daily. Don't think about it. Completely routine. You're traveling farther in 20 minutes than medieval peasants traveled in their entire lives. The mobility is unprecedented. The speed is extraordinary. You're experiencing what medieval nobility couldn't imagine. Medieval version. You walk to the fields, 15 to 30 minutes, on foot, through mud, through snow, through whatever weather exists. You travel maybe a mile. That's your commute. That's as far as you go. The same place, every day, forever. No vehicle, no options, just walking. Your entire world is tiny. Modern mobility is incomprehensible luxury. Your work, modern version. You work 8 hours, maybe 9, 10 if you're unlucky. You get breaks, lunch break, coffee breaks, bathroom breaks. You have weekends. 2 days off per week. 40 hours is full time. Overtime is extra. You get paid, money, you can save it, spend it, choose. You have vacation days, sick days, benefits, health insurance, retirement accounts, worker protections, unions maybe, OSHA regulations, workplace safety. If you're injured, there's workers' compensation, disability insurance. The protections are comprehensive. Medieval version. You work 14 hours, minimum. Sunrise to sunset, no breaks, no lunch break. You eat while working if you eat at all. No weekends. Every day is work day. Sunday, you're supposed to rest. You still work. You work every day. 365 days per year for your entire life. No vacation, no sick days, no benefits, no insurance, no safety regulations, no protections. If you're injured, you work injured or you starve. The comparison is devastating. Modern work is luxury compared to medieval work. Even bad modern jobs, even minimum wage, even difficult labor. It's still better. Shorter hours, better conditions, more safety, more rights. The improvement is total, complete, overwhelming. Your lunch, modern version. You have options. Bring lunch from home, food you stored in your refrigerator, or buy lunch. Fast food, restaurants, grocery store. You have money. You have choices. The food is safe, inspected, regulated. The FDA ensures food safety. The health department inspects restaurants. You're not getting food poisoning. Probably not. The risk is minimal. You eat. The food is flavored, seasoned, enjoyable. Multiple cuisines available. Italian, Chinese, Mexican, Indian. You choose. The variety is extraordinary. Medieval version. Bread if you brought it. Probably stale. Possibly moldy. You eat it in the field. No break. Just quick eating while working. The food is the same as breakfast. Same as dinner will be. No variety, no safety, no enjoyment. Just calories. Barely enough calories. Modern lunch wins by knockout. Your evening. Modern version. You leave work, go home. The workday ends. Actually ends. You have evening time, free time, personal time. You eat dinner. Different food than lunch. Different than breakfast. 3 meals. 3 different meals. The variety is normal, expected. You watch TV, stream shows, Netflix, Hulu. Entertainment on demand. Unlimited entertainment. You browse the internet, read, play games, talk to friends, text them, call them, video chat. The communication is instant. The entertainment is endless. You're not working, you're relaxing. This is normal. This is daily. This is your right. Medieval version. You work until dark. Come home. Eat pottage. The same pottage. Sit by the fire briefly. Too tired for anything else. Sleep. That's your evening. No entertainment. No relaxation. No free time. Just exhaustion and sleep. Modern evening is luxury. Medieval evening is collapse. Your health care. Modern version. You feel sick. You go to the doctor. The doctor has medical school. 8 years of training. Board certification. Actual knowledge. They examine you. Diagnostic tests. Blood tests. X-rays. MRI, maybe. They diagnose accurately. Prescribe treatment. Antibiotics if bacterial infection. Antivirals if viral. Pain medication. Actual medication that works. You take the medicine, you get better. Survival rate for most illnesses, 90+%. The medical care is extraordinary. You need surgery. The surgeon is trained, specialized, years of practice. You get anesthesia, general anesthesia. You're unconscious, you feel nothing. The surgery happens. Sterile technique, antiseptic everything. The infection risk is minimal, 1% maybe. You recover, physical therapy if needed, pain management, support. You survive, you heal. Modern surgery survival rate, 99%. Medieval surgery survival rate, 30 to 50%. The improvement is 50% better survival. That's the difference between death and life. Medieval version. You feel sick. You suffer. No doctor, no treatment, no medicine. You either recover or die. Coin flip. If you need surgery, you get a monk with a saw. No anesthesia. You're conscious. You're screaming. The infection is guaranteed. You probably die. Modern healthcare is literal life-saving magic. Medieval healthcare is guessing and prayer. Your sons and daughters, modern version. You have young ones, 2 maybe, 3. You choose how many. Birth control exists. You control reproduction. Revolutionary concept. Your sons and daughters survive. Infant mortality is less than 1%. Youth mortality is less than 1%. Almost all young ones survive to adulthood. This is normal. This is expected. This is miraculous by medieval standards. Your sons and daughters go to school. Free school. Public education. They learn to read, write, mathematics, science, history. They're educated. They have opportunities. They can choose careers, choose their lives. Social mobility exists. They can improve their situation, move up, change jobs, move to different cities, different countries even. The freedom is total. The opportunities are endless. Medieval version. You have 8 young ones. 4 die in childhood. This is expected. Normal. You can't prevent it. Can't protect them. They just die. The survivors work from age 8. No school, no education, illiterate. They'll farm the same land, same job, same poverty, same suffering. Their young ones will do the same, forever. No mobility, no opportunity, no escape. Modern childhood is paradise. Medieval childhood is survival lottery. Your food security. Modern version. You go to the grocery store. Thousands of products. Aisles of food. Meat department. Produce section. Bakery. Dairy. Frozen foods. International foods. The variety is overwhelming. Incomprehensible to medieval people. You choose. You buy what you want. What you can afford. The food is safe. Inspected. Dated. Refrigerated. Preserved properly. You store it in your refrigerator. Your freezer. The food lasts weeks. Months. You're not worried about next week. Next month. You know food will be available. The grocery store restocks constantly. The supply chain is reliable. Famine is impossible. Unthinkable. Food security is total. Medieval version. You eat what you grew. What you stored. When it runs out, you starve. Famine is regular. Expected. The food insecurity is crushing. Constant. The anxiety is permanent. Will there be food next month? Next winter? You don't know. Can't know. The uncertainty is torture. Modern food security is the greatest achievement of civilization. Medieval food insecurity is normalized terror. Your safety. Modern version. Police exist. Emergency services. You call 911. Help comes. Crime is relatively low. Violence is prosecuted. Murder rate in modern developed countries, 1 to 2 per 100,000 per year. You're safe. Relatively safe. The risk is minimal. You walk streets without fear, sleep without guards, live without constant threat. The safety is taken for granted. Completely normal, historically unprecedented. Medieval version. No police, no emergency services. You're on your own. Violence is common. Murder rate estimated at 20 to 50 per 100,000, 10 to 25 times higher than modern rates. You're at risk constantly. Bandits, robbers, violent neighbors. No protection, no justice. You defend yourself, or you die. Modern safety is luxury. Medieval danger is constant. Your rights. Modern version. You have rights. Actual legal rights. Freedom of movement. You can live where you want, travel where you want. No permission needed. Freedom of occupation. You choose your job, change jobs, quit, start a business. Your choice. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to marry who you want, when you want, if you want. Personal autonomy. Bodily autonomy. You control your own life, your own body, your own choices. These rights are protected legally, constitutionally. The freedom is comprehensive. Medieval version. You have no rights. None. Zero. Your property. You need permission to move, to marry, to change anything. You have no autonomy, no agency, no freedom. The Lord controls your life. The system controls everything. Modern rights are revolutionary. Medieval serfdom is slavery with paperwork. Your life expectancy, modern version. You'll probably live to 75, 80, 85 maybe? Women outlive men usually, live to 90. You'll see your sons and daughters grow up. See your grandchildren, maybe great-grandchildren. You'll have decades of retirement, leisure time, freedom time, post-work life. You'll pursue hobbies, travel, enjoy life. Your old age is comfortable, supported, Social Security, Medicare, pensions, retirement accounts. You're cared for, protected. The extended life is normal, expected, planned for. Medieval version. You'll probably die at 45, 50 if lucky. You won't retire. You'll work until you physically can't. Then you'll die shortly after. You might see your sons and daughters grow up. Probably won't see grandchildren grown. Definitely won't see great-grandchildren. Your old age is suffering. No support. No care. You're a burden. You know it. Everyone knows it. You die. They bury you. Life continues. Modern longevity is miracle. Medieval early death is tragedy. Your possessions. Modern version. You own things. Actual ownership. Your house, maybe. Your car. Your furniture. Your clothes. Multiple outfits. Shoes. Multiple pairs. Your electronics. Phone. Computer. TV. Your stuff. Hundreds of items. Thousands, maybe. Your net worth is tens of thousands of dollars. Hundreds of thousands. You have assets, savings, investments. The wealth is real. Protected. Legal. You own it. No one can take it without due process. Medieval version. You own almost nothing. Your clothes, one outfit, a bowl, a spoon, some shared tools. Your net worth is maybe equivalent to $100. Maybe. The poverty is absolute, total. You own nothing of value. Everything you use belongs to the Lord. Your house is His, the land is His, the tools are communal. You have nothing. The contrast is crushing. Your technology, modern version. You have electricity. Think about this. Electricity. Light at the flip of a switch. Instant light. Bright light. Day and night are the same. You control it. Heating controlled. Cooling controlled. Air conditioning in summer. Refrigeration for food. Hot water on demand. Washing machines. Dryers. Dishwashers. Machines that do labor for you. Communication technology. Phones. Internet. Instant global communication. You talk to people across the world, instantly, for free. The technology is magic, literal magic, by medieval standards. Medieval version, fire for light, fire for heat, fire for cooking. That's it. That's all the technology. No electricity, no machines, no communication technology. You're living in the dark ages, actually dark. The nights are completely dark. The comparison is technology versus nothing. Modern life wins completely. Your education, modern version. You went to school. Years of school. 12 years minimum. College maybe. University. Graduate school. You can read, write, analyze, think critically. You have knowledge, access to more knowledge. Libraries, internet, Google. You can learn anything, research anything, know anything. The information is unlimited, free, accessible. The education continues your whole life. You never stop learning, never stop growing. Medieval version. Zero education. Zero. You're illiterate, innumerate. You can't read, can't write, can't do mathematics beyond counting. You know only what you've been told, what you've experienced. Your knowledge is limited, tiny. You'll never learn more, never grow intellectually. The intellectual poverty is as bad as the material poverty. Worse, maybe. Modern education is enlightenment. Medieval ignorance is darkness. Your gender equality. Modern version. Women have rights. Equal rights, legally. Not perfect equality, but legal equality. Women can own property, can work, can vote, can divorce, can control their reproduction, can choose their lives. The equality is recent, very recent, but real, meaningful, revolutionary. Medieval version. Women are property. First of their fathers, then of their husbands. No rights, no agency, no control. Married to strangers, forced into motherhood, used and discarded. The inequality is total. Modern feminism is progress. Medieval misogyny is systematic oppression. The cumulative comparison is overwhelming. Every aspect of modern life is better. Every single aspect. Food, shelter, work, healthcare, safety, rights, longevity, education, technology, everything. The improvement is comprehensive, total, absolute. You won the lottery, the birth lottery, born in modern times, in a developed country. You won. You didn't earn it. You didn't deserve it more than medieval peasants. You just got lucky. Timing, geography, random chance. You're reaping benefits of centuries of progress. Millions of people suffered so you could have this. Died so society could learn. Starved so agriculture could improve. Worked themselves to death so labor standards could develop. Medieval peasants lived terrible lives. Suffered immensely. Died young. They had no choice. No opportunity. No escape. They endured so their great-great-great-grandchildren might have better. They didn't see the progress. Didn't benefit from it. They just suffered. For nothing in their lifetime. For everything in yours. You owe them gratitude, acknowledgement, remembrance. They built the foundation, literally and figuratively. They farmed the land that fed the people who built civilization. They suffered the diseases that taught medicine. They endured the famines that improved agriculture. They died the deaths that motivated progress. Every comfort you have is built on their suffering. Every freedom exists because they lacked it. Every right was purchased with their oppression. Don't forget them. Don't take your life for granted. Don't waste the opportunities they never had. You have what they died wishing for. Use it. Appreciate it. Honor it. Honor them. This is the comparison. Medieval versus modern. Suffering versus comfort. Death versus life. Oppression versus freedom. You're living in the miracle age. The unprecedented age. The age they couldn't imagine. The age they made possible through their suffering. And we're almost done. One more section. The final recap. The complete summary. The comprehensive acknowledgement of medieval peasant suffering. The gratitude for how far we've come. The campfire closing. That's next. The final part. The culmination. Everything we've discussed brought together. The horror, the suffering, the systematic oppression, the mortality, the comparison. All of it. One final comprehensive look at medieval peasant life. Welcome to the end of our journey through medieval peasant life. Thank you for joining me by the campfire, for exploring these dark halls of history, for learning about the horror that was daily existence for most of medieval Europe, for appreciating how far we've come, for staying with me through over 2 hours of systematic oppression and generational poverty. Let's recap everything. The complete picture. The comprehensive nightmare that was being a medieval peasant. You were born into serfdom. No choice, no agency, no escape. Your status was inherited. Your father was a peasant. His father was a peasant. You're a peasant. Your sons and daughters will be peasants. Their young ones will be peasants. The cycle continues for generations, centuries. The social mobility is zero. The class system is rigid, absolute, inescapable. You're locked into poverty before you take your first breath. Your odds of surviving childhood were 50-50. Coin flip odds. Half the young died before age 5. Disease, malnutrition, accidents, neglect. The causes were numerous. The result was death, constant death. Every family experienced loss, multiple losses. The grief was universal, the trauma was permanent. You watched siblings die, watched neighbors young die. Death was your childhood companion. This was normal. This was expected. This was medieval childhood. If you survived to adulthood, you were one of the lucky ones, the strong ones, the genetically fortunate. You beat the odds. Congratulations on not dying young. Your prize is decades of brutal labor. Your home was a one-room hovel, 180 square feet, dirt floor, thatched roof that leaked, wattle and daub walls that crumbled. You shared this space with your family, your spouse, your sons and daughters, your parents maybe, and your animals, chickens, a pig, maybe a cow, everyone and everything in one small room. No privacy, no personal space, no dignity. The smell was apocalyptic. The parasites were constant. The conditions were barely better than living outside. Your house was shelter. Barely. Comfort was not a consideration. Your possessions fit in a small bag. One outfit, one bowl, one spoon, maybe a knife, some shared tools. That was everything. Your entire material wealth, your net worth was poverty incarnate. You owned nothing of value. Everything you used belonged to someone else. The land belonged to the Lord. The house was his property. The tools were communal. You had nothing. The poverty was absolute. Your work was relentless. 14-hour days, every day, 7 days per week, 52 weeks per year, for your entire working life. Sunrise to sunset, back-breaking agricultural labor. Plowing, planting, weeding, harvesting, maintaining, building, repairing. The tasks never ended. The work never stopped. No weekends, no vacation, no sick days, no retirement. You worked until you physically couldn't. Then you died shortly after. The labor destroyed your body. Your back was ruined by 30. Your joints were destroyed by 40. Chronic pain was universal. Everyone hurt constantly. Everyone was physically damaged. The work broke you systematically, methodically, completely. Your body was a tool used until it broke, then discarded. Your feudal obligations were comprehensive. You paid rent in crops. 30 to 50% of everything you grew went to the Lord. Just taken, removed, gone. You owed labor service, free work. 2 to 3 days per week working the Lord's fields for free. You owed boon work, special projects, building, repairing, whatever the Lord needed. You provided it, without compensation, without choice. You owed fees for everything: marriage tax, inheritance tax, mill fees, oven fees. Every transaction extracted wealth upward, from you to the Lord. The system was designed to extract. It worked perfectly. You were not free. You couldn't leave without permission, couldn't change jobs, couldn't move to a different village. You were bound to the land, legally bound. Serf sounds nicer than slave. The practical difference was minimal. You were property that could walk, could complain. The complaints didn't matter. You were still property. Your food was monotonous. Bread, pottage, porridge, every day. The same things. Dark bread made from barley or rye, vegetable stew, grain porridge. No variety, no seasoning, no flavor. Just calories, barely enough calories. You were hungry constantly, genuinely malnourished. Your body was consuming itself. You ran a caloric deficit daily. The hunger was your permanent companion. Meat was rare, maybe once per month, maybe less. You couldn't afford to slaughter animals. They were more valuable alive. The pig you raised all year got slaughtered in November. One pig fed your family for months. If you rationed, if you made it last, The salted pork was so salty it would horrify modern doctors. You ate it anyway. Protein was precious. The hungry gap was hell. February through April, your stored grain ran low, ran out. You were starving. Actually starving, the young cried from hunger. You had nothing to give them. People died every winter. The weak, the old, the very young. Starvation was regular, expected, normal. The food insecurity was crushing, constant, terrifying. Malnutrition caused disease, scurvy, rickets, anemia, pellagra. Your body was deficient in everything. Vitamins, minerals, protein, calories. The deficiencies were visible. You were thin, weak, pale, stunted. Everyone looked malnourished. Because everyone was malnourished. This was normal. This was what peasants looked like. Your health was terrible. Disease was constant. Dysentery, tuberculosis, plague, smallpox, typhus, malaria. The list goes on. Everyone was sick. Always. Something was always going around the village. Someone was always dying. The mortality was relentless. You watched people die regularly, weekly, daily during epidemics. Death was omnipresent. Medical care didn't exist. Not real medical care. You had monks with zero training. Their treatment was bloodletting and prayer. Neither worked. Both might make things worse. You either recovered on your own or you died. The survival rate for serious illness was maybe 50%. Coin flip. You got sick. You rolled the dice. Sometimes you won. Often you didn't. Injuries were common. Dangerous work with dangerous tools produced dangerous results. Cuts, breaks, fractures, burns. Every injury risked infection. Infection risked death. Simple cuts killed people. Broken bones killed people. You worked carefully. Accidents happened anyway. You got injured. You suffered. You probably survived. Maybe. The maybe was terrifying. Your life expectancy was 45 to 50 years. If you survived childhood, many didn't. If you made it to 20, you had maybe 30 more years. 3 decades of suffering, then death. Heart attack from overwork, infection from a cut, disease, starvation. Something killed you. Something always killed everyone eventually. Very few people made it to 60. Almost no one reached 70. The 1% who did were considered ancient. Miraculous. Lucky beyond belief. Compared to modern life expectancy. 75 to 85 years in developed countries. The difference is 35 to 40 years. An entire extra lifetime. You're living twice as long as medieval peasants. Twice. The doubling is recent. Last century recent. Before that, everyone died young. Everyone suffered. Everyone endured short, brutal lives. The causes of death were numerous. Starvation, disease, infection, injury, childbirth for women, violence, accidents, judicial execution, war. The methods varied. The result was the same. Death, young death, preventable death by modern standards, inevitable death by medieval standards. The systematic oppression was comprehensive. The Lord controlled everything. Your land, your labor, your movement, your marriage, your inheritance, your justice, everything. You had no rights, no agency, no power. You were a tool, a resource, a means of production, not a person, not an individual, just a worker, just a serf, just property. Peasant revolts happened occasionally. Desperation reached critical mass. People refused to pay, demanded better treatment, demanded freedom. The revolts were crushed. Always crushed. The leaders were executed. Publicly, gruesomely. The survivors were punished, beaten, mutilated, fined. The system reasserted itself. The oppression continued. Nothing changed. The revolts taught one lesson. Obedience or death. Most people chose obedience. The psychological toll was extraordinary. You endured trauma constantly, watched loved ones die, suffered chronic hunger, experienced systematic oppression, faced constant danger. The trauma accumulated, compounded, destroyed you emotionally. You became numb, had to become numb. Feeling everything would break you. You survived by not feeling, by not thinking, by just working. The emotional shutdown was survival mechanism. Your sons and daughters inherited everything, the poverty, the obligations, the oppression, the suffering. They were born into the same system, faced the same horrors, died the same deaths. Their young ones would too. And theirs. Generation after generation, centuries of systematic oppression, hereditary poverty, hereditary suffering. The system reproduced itself perfectly. You couldn't escape, couldn't improve your situation, couldn't protect your sons and daughters, couldn't change anything. You endured, you suffered, you died. This was your life. This was all there was. This was medieval peasant existence. 85 to 90% of medieval Europeans were peasants. Millions of people, tens of millions, living this life, enduring this suffering, dying these deaths for centuries. The scale is incomprehensible. The suffering is beyond measure. Each person was real, had a name, had a family, had hopes and dreams and fears. Each death was tragedy. Multiply that by millions, by generations, by centuries. The cumulative suffering is staggering. These were real people, not statistics, not numbers, not abstractions. Real human beings, born, lived, loved, suffered, died. They felt pain, felt hunger, felt fear, felt loss. They were as human as you are, as real as you are. They just had the misfortune of being born in the wrong century, in the wrong class, into the wrong system. They deserve our acknowledgement, our respect, our remembrance. They suffered immensely, endured unimaginable hardship. They kept going, kept working, kept living, despite everything. Despite the hunger and pain and oppression and death, they persisted. They survived, some of them anyway, enough to continue, enough to build, enough to create the foundation we stand on. Every comfort you enjoy was built on their suffering. Every freedom you have exists because they lacked it. Every right was purchased with their oppression. Every technological advancement came from centuries of accumulated knowledge they helped create. Even in their ignorance, even in their poverty, even in their suffering, they contributed. They mattered. They built civilization through their labor, through their endurance, through their sacrifice. The modern world exists because they existed, because they farmed, because they worked, because they suffered, because they died. Their deaths weren't meaningless. Their suffering wasn't for nothing. It was the foundation, the base, the starting point. Progress came from their pain. Advancement came from their sacrifice. Everything we have traces back to them, to their labor, to their lives, to their deaths. We owe them gratitude. We owe them acknowledgement. We owe them remembrance. They endured so we don't have to. They suffered so we could learn. They died so medicine could advance, so agriculture could improve, so labor standards could develop, so rights could be recognized, so freedom could be won. Their lives bought our comfort. Their deaths purchased our safety. Their suffering created the possibility of our prosperity. They deserve our remembrance. They've earned our gratitude. They're the foundation we stand on. Medieval peasant life, where freedom was fantasy and social mobility didn't exist, where half of the young died young and the survivors faced decades of brutal labor, where hunger was constant and death was early, where systematic oppression was comprehensive and escape was impossible, where suffering was universal and relief was never coming. But at least they tried. They kept going. They persisted. They endured. And that counts for something. We've come so far, from subsistence farming to modern agriculture, from one-room hovels to climate-controlled homes, from starvation to food security, from serfdom to freedom, from 45 years to 85 years, from illiteracy to universal education, from helplessness to agency, from oppression to rights, from suffering to comfort. The progress is extraordinary, unprecedented, miraculous. We're living in the age they couldn't imagine, the age they made possible, the age built on their suffering. Don't forget that. Don't take it for granted. Don't waste the opportunities they never had. You won the birth lottery, born in modern times, in a developed country. You're experiencing what medieval nobility couldn't imagine, what medieval peasants died wishing for. You have food security, healthcare, rights, freedom, education, opportunity, longevity, comfort, safety, all of it. Everything they lacked, everything they suffered without, everything they died wanting. Use it, appreciate it, honor them. Go appreciate your refrigerator, your hot water, your bed that doesn't have strangers in it, your bathroom that's actually private, your ability to choose your job, to move freely, to control your life, your rights, your freedom, your comfort, your safety, your opportunities, and maybe, just maybe, say a thank you to the universe that you weren't born in 1320, that you're not farming land you'll never own, that you're not watching half your sons and daughters die, that you're not working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for your entire short life, that you're not trapped in systematic oppression with no escape, that you're here, now, in the miracle age. They deserve our remembrance. They've earned our gratitude. They're the foundation we stand on, medieval peasant life, where the vibes were catastrophically terrible and the mortality rate was worse, where suffering was systematic and escape was impossible, where every aspect of existence was designed to extract and oppress and control and crush, where being born was the beginning of decades of hardship ending in early death. But at least they tried. At least they endured. At least they persisted. And that counts for something. Their suffering bought our freedom. Their deaths funded our knowledge. Their labor built our foundation. We stand on their graves. We live in the world they made possible. We owe them everything. Never forget them. Never forget their suffering. Never forget how far we had to come. Never forget the cost. Never forget the foundation. Until next time, traveler. The fire is dimming now, but the memory of their struggle burns bright. Remember them. Honor them. Live the life they died wishing for. They've earned that much.